Chapter 1394. Close to 1,000,000 km long body landed on the ground, causing the ground to shake. The body's tail almost touched a soldier not too far away. The surrounding soldiers all turned to look, especially after seeing the beast god's body. They were all shocked. When the golden silhouette's eyes shot out a golden light, enveloping the beast god's body, after which he nodded. It's indeed the Nine Smoke Swamp's true god. Mission complete, 10,000 points. Luo Feng was shocked as he heard this. Just one check, and he was able to confirm it was the Nine Smoke Swamps. Looks like the army's control over the entire Gene world was shockingly strong. State your request. The golden silhouette looked at Luo Feng. You can use this 10,000 points to exchange for weapons, machinery, inheritances, etc. If you have other treasures, you can give them to the army to exchange for points. This is the list. The moment the golden silhouette finished speaking, a huge screen appeared before Luo Feng. On it was a large, detailed list. Luo Feng's gaze swept across. I want to understand the basic information of the levels above the true god. Luo Feng said. Basic information? The golden silhouette said, there are only 3 pieces of information that explain the basic information, according to the level of detail and the level of secrecy. To read them would require 100 points, 500 points, and 3,000 points respectively. Luo Feng was shocked. Just the basic information, which was not a cultivation guide, actually required so much military merit. The disaster-grade mission only required 10,000 military merit. With the corpse of a mutated beast true god, it would be easy for him to extract 1 or 2 supreme treasures from Wuha. Perhaps he could extract even more. However, he really wanted to understand more. I need the highest level. Luo Feng said directly. 3,000 points deducted. The golden silhouette said, Mang River Soldier, you have 7,000 points left, and you can only read this secret information from here. Hua. A large amount of words immediately appeared on the screen before Luo Feng. This screen was something only Luo Feng could see. The other soldiers at the armory couldn't. Actually, the same logic. Luo Feng couldn't see the details of the other soldiers' trades at the armory too. Read from here? Luo Feng muttered, his gaze sweeping across as he carefully read. The words were extremely small. The screen was huge. Just one screen alone had over 100 million words. Luo Feng immersed himself in it. According to the description of the basic information, according to their abilities, they could be categorized into those below Immortal Realm, Law Honorable, Universe Honorable, Law Master, Universe Master, Real God, Void Real God, and Eternal Real God. When the living beings of the Gene Realm are born, they are below the Undying rank. Normally, once they reached adulthood, they would become undying. Some geniuses became undying within a few years of birth. Undying, law sovereigns, law lords, all of them were divine bodies. Their energy and life imprints fused into one. Depleting divine power was the same as depleting one's life imprint. Some races had souls. Some, like the stone life forms, were the cores of other life forms. But in summary, they all had life imprints. The more life seals he lost, the greater the impact on his strength. If he lost 50% of his god body, he would lose 90% of his power. This was the shortcoming of a divine body. Once he became a true god, just like a baby, it returned to its original life. If it was a flesh and blood life form, it would still be a flesh and blood life form. If it was a metal life form, it would still be a metal life form. Example, flesh and blood life forms. Flesh and blood life forms. Their flesh and bones were unable to contain the imprint of life. Just like domain lords and sector lords, their souls and bodies were separated. And after becoming a true god, they would return to being a flesh and blood life form. Their souls and bodies would still be separated again. The energy of a true god was the body. With a powerful body, every bit of the body could be burned and turned into powerful energy to be used in battle. And the soul of a true god was hidden in the heart of a true god. True God, Void Real God, and Eternal Real God all had the heart of a true god. The heart of a true god, although it was called a heart, it was actually a secret space within a true god's body. In this secret space, there was the soul of a true god. At the same time, this secret space was connected to the small universe outside. No matter how far away the true god was from his small universe, through this connection, the energy absorbed by the small universe could be quickly transferred to the heart of a true god to replenish the energy consumed in battle. Killing a true god, there were 3 ways. The first way was to completely destroy a true god's body, physically destroying the secret space, and the true god would naturally fall. The second way was to attack the soul, directly destroying the true god's soul, and the true god would naturally die. The third way, which was also the most common, was to attack more than what a true god could withstand. The strong impact would continuously cause the secret space within the true god's body, which was also the heart of a true god, to break and even collapse. Once the heart of a true god collapsed, the true god would naturally die. It was like an ordinary person wearing armor being hit in the chest by a hammer. Perhaps the ordinary person would not be injured on the surface, but the impact would shatter his heart. It was the same logic. Hence, the stronger the body, the weaker the impact on the heart of a true god would be. If the body could withstand all the impact, the heart of a true god would not be affected, and it would naturally be fine. Flesh and blood life forms, rock life forms, plant life forms, and so on. All of them were the same. After becoming a true god, the body and soul, life core, would naturally be separated. Hence, no matter how much energy a true god consumed, it would not have much effect on his abilities. This was because the divine power that a true god burned did not contain a soul. A true god had a small universe. However, this small universe was born from the evolution of a holy kingdom and not created by the true God through comprehension. Next, a true God needed to comprehend the evolution and birth of the universe. Until true control of the void. With one thought, the void would be formed. At this moment, he was a void real God. The void real God continued to improve and comprehend more, until one day, his understanding of the evolution of the entire universe reached an extreme. He could even create a small universe in an instant. With one thought, the universe would be formed. At this moment, he was an eternal true God. With one thought, the universe would be formed into a small universe. This was different from Luo Feng's talent secret technique, I am the universe. Luo Feng's talent secret technique was too simple. As for the small universe that an eternal true God created in an instant, it was purely because he did not have enough energy to create a large universe. He could only create a small universe as a battlefield. For example, with one thought, the surrounding 10,000 light years would enter a small universe. The eternal true God was the master of this small universe. Other than its small size, everything else was no different from a real universe. Its power was so great, it was enough for an eternal true God to have the absolute power to defeat a void real God. True God, void real God, eternal true God. It was a process of continuously deepening the control of the universe's evolution. At the later stage, he could create a small universe with one thought. In the entire realm of Jin, there were 4 eternal true gods. They were the generals of the East, West, North, and South armies. They ruled over the entire realm of Jin and had a supreme position. If another void real god broke through and became an eternal true god, then the eternal true God could leave the realm of Jin to fight for the Divine King. Like other soldiers, they could only leave after being summoned by the Divine King. But an eternal true God could leave on his own. Luo Feng sighed to himself. Leave on his own? If the Divine King was still alive, it would be fine if the eternal true gods under him came out to fight for him. But looking at that huge humanoid creature lying in the cosmic sea, I'm afraid that the Divine King has already fallen. The Divine King has fallen. According to the original will of the universe, all living beings in the realm of Jinn will die if they leave the realm of Jinn. I'm afraid that even if some powerful beings were born and became eternal true gods, they would be annihilated as soon as they left the realm of Jinn. Luo Feng sighed, and then continued to watch with anticipation. In the realm of Jinn, a void real god was an overlord. An eternal real god was an absolutely high and mighty existence. Under his majesty the divine king, he was also a great subject with an extremely high status. However, even if they were all true gods, void real gods, or eternal true gods, there would still be differences. For example, the extremely important small-sized universe. When a true god becomes a true god, the god nation becomes a small-sized universe. At this moment, the internal structure of the small-sized universe is extremely important. When a true god becomes a true god, the small-sized universe's diameter is 100 million light-years. But once a void real god becomes a void real god, the difference becomes obvious. Because of the difference in the early structure, when a void real god becomes a small-sized universe, some will become 1.8 billion light-years in diameter, some will become 2.5 billion light-years in diameter, and some will become 5 billion light-years in diameter. Completely different. Among them, a void real god's small-sized universe has a diameter of 1 billion light-years and a diameter of 10 billion light-years. Oh! Luo Feng was shocked. Among the two sacred grounds, the Purple Moon's sacred ground's small-sized universe has a diameter of 1 billion light-years, while the East Emperor's sacred ground's small-sized universe has a diameter of 2 billion light-years. From the diameter of the sacred grounds universe, East Emperor ancestor, Purple Moon ancestor, they were both void real gods. Continue to look. Luo Feng looked very carefully. The small-sized universe is the foundation. A small-sized universe can absorb energy from the outside world and transform it into divine energy, without life imprints for the strong to absorb. And every time a strong breaks through, whether it's a true god to a void real god or a void real god to an eternal true god, the small-sized universe has to transform for the entire breakthrough to be successful. So, when the strong dies, the small-sized universe will naturally collapse. But if the small-sized universe is attacked and destroyed, the strong can still live and absorb energy from the outside world to replenish themselves, but they can no longer break through. No matter how high their comprehension is, it's useless. However, the small-sized universe is very stable and hard to destroy. To destroy a true god's small-sized universe, an extreme void real god must use all his strength to do it. To destroy a void real god's small-sized universe, an extreme existence among the eternal true gods must be able to do it. To destroy an eternal true god's small-sized universe, there are no records. However, all the small-sized universes of the Jinn world were arranged by His Majesty, the Divine King, to be in the core of the Jinn world. No strong warriors can reach there, so there's no danger. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1395. The three stages of real God, void real God, and eternal real God. The difficulty of each stage kept on increasing. This could be seen just from the number of eternal true gods in the Jinn world. Strictly speaking, becoming a true god was split into the God Force route and the Origin Law route. The Origin Law route was the easiest and most common. However, if one chose the God Force route, it would be difficult. And once one chose the God Force route, even if one succeeded, according to the genetic hierarchy, there were 3 levels. Especially the 3rd level, reaching 90,000 times Jinn, that was simply a legend. It could be said to become a true god through the God Force route, reaching 90,000 times life force. The difficulty was so high that it was comparable to becoming an eternal true god. Any true god that could reach 90,000 times life force could easily become a void true god. Even becoming an eternal true god wouldn't be too difficult. Luo Feng finished reading in one go and frowned. The God Force route was very difficult. The God Force route reaching 90,000 times was even more difficult. Can I reach 90,000 times Life Force before this era ends? Even Luo Feng wasn't confident. No matter what, I'll try my best. Before this era ends, even if I can't reach 90,000 times, no matter how many Life Force I reach, I'll immediately break through to become a true god. Luo Feng finished reading and said, I want to see some inheritances. Sure. The golden silhouette said, this is the list of inheritances. Huh. The screen changed. The words from before all disappeared and became a huge, detailed list of inheritances. It was split into treasures, machines, close combat, etc. 5,000 merit points, 10,000 merit points, 100,000 merit points. TSK. These 100,000 merit points can only be exchanged by special soldiers? Luo Feng looked at them one by one and was shocked. The inheritances required were indeed expensive. Some special inheritances couldn't be exchanged for by normal soldiers. So expensive. The second level of the God Force ignition technique can be used by an overlord. It requires 1 million merit points. Luo Feng was shocked. He didn't expect the Gene world to have such a high-level God Force ignition technique. It was about the same as the first 2 volumes of Annihilation. Looking at the list of inheritances, Luo Feng was shocked at the price of merit points. I want to see the weapons and armors. Luo Feng said. Yes, the golden figure replied, and the list on the light screen changed again. At this moment, behind each name on the screen was a picture of a weapon or armor, as well as the required military merits and authority. Luo Feng's gaze swept. True God level battle armor. Roughly 10,000 military merits. True God level weapons are of different levels. The lowest can be exchanged for with 2,000 military merits, while the highest can be exchanged for with 1 million military merits. A true God grade warship requires at least 50,000 contribution points. Luo Feng looked one by one. It was clear that Palace-type Supreme Treasures were the most expensive, followed by Soul-type Supreme Treasures. Even the cheapest one would cost at least 30,000 military merits, followed by Domain-type, Armor-type, and finally Attack-type. Of course, each category had its own special characteristics. The highest Attack-type weapon cost 1 million military merits. Even the most powerful palaces required at least 1 million military merits. My 300,000 points can be exchanged for quite a few absolute treasures. Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief. The prices of the absolute treasures weren't that high. He looked at legacies, weapons, armors, and even some travel notes of the realm of Gene. It took him an entire day. The golden silhouette standing before Luo Feng didn't seem impatient at all. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed, emphasizing, I want to see the mechanical treasures. Coming to the realm of Gene, there were 3 main goals. One was to gather enough materials from a true god's corpse to help him become a true god. The second was to investigate the secrets of the realm of Gene, and the third was to find a suitable and powerful mechanical treasure. He had the Wu killer wings and the tomb boat. One for support, the other for flight and escape. Right now, he needed a main offensive weapon. This is the list. The golden silhouette's screen changed again. The list on the screen was very sparse. There were only a few tens of them. However, these tens were all true god-level machines. Obviously, the higher-level mechanical treasures weren't shown at all. It was probably because he wasn't strong enough. 86 types? Luo Feng looked carefully. As there were very few types, every single one of them had a picture and a simple introduction. Black Cloud Wings. Luo Feng's gaze quickly landed on one of the mechanical treasures. Black Cloud Wings. True God-level machine. Normal. Requires 150,000 military merits to exchange. Python River soldiers have the authority to exchange. Strong points. Good at escaping. Extremely strong defense. Good at binding and trapping enemies. Weak points. Weak attack power. This Black Cloud Wings, back in the Nine Smoke Swamp, the captain used this Black Cloud Wings to deal with him. The binding power was indeed terrifying. He estimated that if he didn't use the tomb boat and use the Blood Shadow Blade, he would probably have to use Annihilation to break free. And this is just the normal level of a true god machine. Luo Feng sighed. With a glance. 100,000 military merits. 100,000 military merits. 120,000 military merits. 120,000 military merits. 130,000 military merits. 150,000 military merits. 300,000 military merits. 1 million military merits. 3 million military merits. The lower one went, the more military merits one would need to obtain a mechanical-type treasure. One had to know that even a true god-level weapon required 1 million military merits, much less a mechanical treasure. No matter how good it is, I can't afford it. So what? Luo Feng didn't bite off more than he could chew. He looked at the most expensive treasures at the bottom. Instead, he looked at the mechanical treasures that required 300,000 military merits. 350,000 military merits. Very quickly, he locked onto a target. It was a two-handed great blade, incomparably domineering and beautiful. Mist Blade, true god-level machine, normal, requires 320,000 military merits to exchange. Mang River soldiers have the authority to exchange strong points. God energy is converted within the Mist Blade core, producing an extremely strong attack. Weak points. Consumes an extremely high amount of god energy. What I need is a strong attack, and I use a blade. Luo Feng was moved as he looked. It's only a true god-level machine. It's enough for me to use before I break free from rebirth. Once I do, this Mist Blade will seem low-end. I can leave it for the humans. Only, it's a little similar to the Blood Shadow Blade. Luo Feng continued looking down, looking at the treasures one by one. The further down the mechanical treasures were, the more special and valuable they were. Luo Feng even saw a mechanical ship that was comparable to the tomb boat, and it even had the ability to attack. The last one. Luo Feng held his breath. The last one was also the most expensive true god-level machine. It was called Wu Qi Shun. Wu Qi Shun, true god-level machine. Unique, this was personally created by the godly emperor. There's only one of it. Requires 30 million military merits to exchange. And only the conferred true gods or law lords have the authority to exchange for it. Warning, Mang River soldiers have no authority to exchange for it. Strong points. 1. Extremely strong defense. Wu Qi Shun was crafted from precious materials chosen by the godly emperor. Even eternal true gods have no way of destroying it. 2. Extremely strong attack power, possessing unparalleled attack power. 3. Dodging extremely fast. The Wu Qixin's body structure was destined to be very agile. The Wu Qixin was a mechanical treasure that looked like a monkey. It had a streamlined body and an agile tail. Just by looking at the picture, one could feel the explosive power and movement speed of the Wu Qixin. Weak points. So strong, the amount of god energy required is shocking too. Normal true god bodies would be drained in an instant. Warning again. Ever since the Wu Qixin was created by the godly emperor, no warrior has ever had the right to exchange for it with military merits. Its strength is only a guess. There's no evidence to prove it. However, the godly emperor has condescended to create a true god-level machine. As long as the godly emperor makes a move, none of them will be bad. The exchange conditions were set by the godly emperor himself. Wu Qixin? Luo Feng's heart was itching. Luo Feng, who had a deep understanding of the ancient civilization, was very clear on the value of this Wu Qixin. This Wu Qixin was the pinnacle of a single body type. Like Wu Qixin's wings, it was also a single body type. It could only be controlled by a single warrior. However, it was only a support type. And the Wu Qixin could be said to be perfect, other than the god energy consumption being too high. It was absolutely perfect. 30 million points. Luo Feng roared within. When will I ever be able to gather so many points? Also, even if I have 30 million points, I don't have the right to buy it. I have to be a true god or an overlord to have the right to exchange for it. And ever since the godly emperor created it, no one has ever been able to exchange for it. Luo Feng shook his head and sighed. The history of the Jin world was ancient. Even the godly emperor had disappeared for a very long time. From this one could deduce that the Wu Qixin had been created for a very long time. However, Even with the selection of the strongest in the Jin world, no one had been able to acquire the Wuqi Shun. One could see how difficult it was. Bestowed? Luo Feng frowned. What bestowed? I have to be a true god or an overlord to have a right to exchange for it. Luo Feng muttered within. Bestowed warriors seem to have a much higher status than the special forces. Luo Feng looked at the golden silhouette before him. I want to know more about bestowing. It requires 500 points. The golden silhouette said. Even this requires 500 points? Even though Luo Feng wasn't satisfied, he obviously had no way to bargain. All right. Luo Feng could only nod. Huh. The light screen in front of him changed and turned into a detailed introduction. Bestowed. It was a warrior who was incomparably outstanding. Once he reached the pinnacle of excellence, he would have the right to be bestowed with the word Jin. This was an unparalleled honor. Every warrior who was bestowed with a title had an extremely high status. In the Jin world, the bestowed warriors were only bestowed with the 4 great generals, above all the void true gods. Bestowed with the word Jin, Luo Feng was stunned. The previous Duandong, he was bestowed with the word Wu, Jin, Wu, His Majesty the Godly Emperor? Luo Feng nodded within, continuing to watch. The conditions to be bestowed were extremely harsh, of course. Once one became a high and mighty eternal true god, they would immediately be bestowed with the title. As for void true gods, less than 1 in a million would be bestowed with the title. As for true gods, ever since the mechanical treasure Wuqi Shun was created, the entire Jin world has never had a true god bestowed with the title of Wuqi Shun. Asterisk, to be continued. If you like this work, please come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1396. Ever since Wuqi was created by His Majesty the God King, no true god had ever conferred a title upon him. As for the even more difficult conferment of a Master of Laws, naturally, no one had ever succeeded. Things would be different once he became a titled warrior. First of all, his position was similar to that of the 4 great generals. Secondly, there were many other benefits. For example, Wu Qixin was a priceless treasure. However, it was difficult. The requirements were so harsh that it stopped countless geniuses in the realm of Jin. Even so, in every era, many geniuses from the Eastern Army, Western Army, Southern Army, and Northern Army would give a try in order to be conferred title. Luo Feng finished reading in one breath and frowned. Trying to get a title? Don't tell me. Luo Feng looked at the golden silhouette before him and said, To get a title? Don't tell me. There's such a mission? The golden figure said coldly, Yes. What mission? Luo Feng asked. He too wanted to give it a try. As for himself, Luo Feng was quite confident. He was after all the inheritor of the Duandong River. Officer of the Python River Army, you are a master of the laws. The golden figure said coldly. If you wish to be conferred a title, there are 2 paths. Luo Feng listened carefully. The first path, the golden figure said, there are 2 conditions. As long as you meet these 2 conditions, the 4 great generals will personally come to verify it. Once you meet them, you will be conferred title. There are 2 conditions for the first path. 1, if you want to become a true god, you must walk the path of divine power, and your Jin level must be 90,000 times. When you succeed, don't be in a hurry to break through to become a true god. Let the 4 great generals examine you first. Second, the Emperor Rhino game has a total of 10,081 games. As long as you can solve 10,081 games in one go, you will meet the requirements. If you meet these 2 conditions, you will immediately be conferred a title and have many privileges. Your status will also be higher than that of ordinary titled experts. He will have the same status as the 4 great generals. The golden figure finished speaking in one breath. Luo Feng's eyes widened as he listened. He was dumbfounded. He was stunned. This is 2. Luo Feng didn't know what to say. Who set the conditions? Luo Feng couldn't help but ask. His Majesty the Great Divine King personally made it, the golden figure said. Luo Feng could only suppress his dissatisfaction. This was crazy. The path of divine power was 90,000 times the gene level. Even in the ancient civilization, even with the help of many fortuitous encounters, it was still extremely difficult. Not to mention that in the realm of gene, all fortuitous encounters and treasures were controlled by the army. The soldiers couldn't have heaven-defying encounters. Even so, he still had to achieve a 90,000-fold vitality gene. Of course, he was already walking on this path, so this request was fine. Solving 1008 Emperor Rhino games in a row? His Majesty hasn't gone mad? Although there was no time limit, for a mere law master to solve all of the 1008 Emperor's Rhino games in one go was simply insane. Such a genius. Not a single master of the laws had ever been able to accomplish such a feat. It could be said that if such a peerless character appeared, it would not be difficult for him to become the new godly king in the future. Both conditions are unimaginable. Luo Feng thought, to be able to fulfill these two conditions, even an eternal true god would be within reach. His future accomplishments would be limitless. It wouldn't be hard for him to stand at the pinnacle of the entire ancient civilization. Madman, His Majesty the Divine King really thinks that the true god-level machine he created, Wu Qi Shun, is so amazing. He dares to raise such conditions. Luo Feng shook his head. The ancient civilization was split into many powers. Gene was just one of them. The moment such an absolute genius was discovered, who wouldn't go crazy over him? Luo Feng shook his head and sighed. Didn't you say there were two paths? Luo Feng looked at the golden silhouette. What about the second path? The great godly king knows the first path is too difficult. The golden silhouette said coldly. Hence he left the second path. Any law master can apply for a title mission. When a mission begins, they'll know the details of the mission and complete it. The moment they complete it, they'll be awarded a title. Title mission? Luo Feng pondered. He understood the mission duration. Every era, there would be an army mission, and in every era, there would only be one mission. To accept another mission, one would have to wait for the next era to begin. What's the death rate of the title missions? Luo Feng asked. Title missions, every era will have soldiers applying for them. The golden silhouette said coldly. The Eastern, Western, Southern, and Northern armies will all take on the title missions together. The death rate of the title missions is about 90%. The remaining 10% can barely survive. Till now, no one has ever completed a titled mission. Luo Feng was shocked. Titled mission endless years, number of completions 0. 90% of the participants perished. 10% of the participants who survived were naturally failures. What's the content? Luo Feng couldn't help but ask curiously. Mang River Soldier, you just have to apply for the mission. You'll know when the next mission period ends. The golden silhouette said, Soldier, I'll give you an extra reminder. You've just joined the army, so you have to train yourself. The best you can do is a few reincarnation level missions. After that, it's not too late to take on the titled missions. Luo Feng nodded to indicate he understood. The vast lake was silent. A strange beast was hovering in midair, a pair of wings on its neck flapping from time to time. It was anxiously looking into the distance, waiting bitterly and anxiously. Why isn't he here yet? I've just gone to an armory. It's time to return. Don't ever exchange all the true god corpses for points. Inhi, oh Inhi, my life is in your hands. I have quite a number of treasures on me. I know that you want me to bring out my treasures to trade. I'll trade. Wuha floated in the air and muttered. He was very worried. Suddenly, Wuha's eyes gleamed. In the distance, a silhouette appeared. With just a teleportation, that silhouette swiftly reached the region. Inhi. The wings on Wuha's neck flapped fiercely. With a so, he flew over passionately. Luo Feng glanced at him and smiled. Don't rush. We'll talk when we get down. All right. Wuha replied obediently. Luo Feng rushed down and landed on the island. Wuha followed suit and landed. This island's layout is really good. Wuha looked around and exclaimed, Everything is so natural. It looks simple, but upon closer inspection, There's a special charm to it. If I had to arrange it, I wouldn't be able to do it. Only you, he, can casually arrange it with such charm. Even my father's arrangement isn't as good as yours. This was arranged by the soldiers from before. Luo Feng casually waved his hand. A stone chair in the distance flew over and landed in front of Luo Feng. Luo Feng sat down and said casually, "I'm lazy. Nothing has changed." Wu He was slightly stunned, after which he said, Right. Inhi, you're right. You should focus on training. The external environment isn't important. Strength is the most important." Luo Feng smiled and looked at Wu He. "All right, stop flattering me. One look and I can tell you don't know how to flatter." Wu He was extremely embarrassed. He was the child of a northern pure sea master. Since young, he had never needed to flatter others. Naturally, he lacked experience. "That portion, I'll leave it for you." Luo Feng looked at Wu He. "You don't have to worry about that." Wu He let out a sigh of relief. "However, whether or not it ends up in your hands will depend on your attitude." Luo Feng said directly, "If you have any good treasures, take them out." Wu He was straightforward. He take a look. Hua. An armor covered in green scales appeared in the empty space beside. "This is the true god armor I brought with me back then. It's even better than the Python River Army's armor." It looked at Luo Feng's expression. Luo Feng's eyelids drooped, as though he didn't care at all. Wu He wasn't surprised at all. He too knew that it wasn't possible to exchange for a true god corpse with just a true god armor. "This is the true god-level battleship I brought with me when I left Northern Pure Sea to join the army." Wu He took out the real deal. So, an ancient golden battleship landed beside. Luo Feng's gaze slightly glanced at it, before continuing to droop. Wu He saw Luo Feng like that and panicked. He reminded, this battleship is a true god-level battleship. Luo Feng still didn't seem interested. Actually, Luo Feng was quite happy within. As I expected, the child of a northern pure sea master, to be able to bring along a palace-type treasure to escape from, that's too normal. However, I still have to suppress it a little. Who knows, there might be some good stuff. In terms of military equipment, this battleship's lowest cost is at least 50,000 points. Looks like this deal is worth it. Wu He was there. Seeing Luo Feng not reacting, he too panicked. "These are the large amounts of armor and weapons I collected from the Nine Smoke Swamp. They're all inside." Wu He threw out a bracelet from his claw. Luo Feng glanced at it, still not minding. Wu He was really panicking. It's about time, right?" Wu He's expression was bitter as he looked at Luo Feng. Only then did Luo Feng take a good look at it. This ugly and malevolent beast, that face covered in scales, was still as fierce as ever. Only its eyes were filled with pity. "Not enough," Luo Feng said softly. Wu He looked pitifully at Luo Feng. However, Luo Feng didn't care. He didn't believe that Wu He would only bring so many treasures from such a huge power like the Northern True Ocean. Even if the Northern True Ocean Master was strict, he would only bring so few treasures. Then, he could let Wu He return to Northern Pure Sea to get more treasures. Anyway, there was still a long time until the end of the era. Wu He could make many trips to Northern Pure Sea. Northern Pure Sea was huge. If he didn't take advantage of them, Luo Feng would be letting himself down. Wu He gritted his teeth and stared at Luo Feng. I did indeed bring a treasure when I came out. I can give it to you. However, you have to return this battleship to me." Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. To dare say that, it was obvious the treasure Wu He had was even more valuable than the battleship. "Take it out and let me see." Luo Feng's eyelids were no longer drooping. They were very bright as he stared unblinkingly at Wu He. Today's first chapter of the third chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1397. Wu He was stared at by Luo Feng. He gritted his teeth and finally took out the most important treasure he had brought with him when he joined the army. Looking at the treasure, Luo Feng immediately revealed a look of glee. After a while, the trade was completed. I won't disturb you any further. Wuha immediately left after obtaining the true god body. All right. Luo Feng nodded and smiled. His attitude was very friendly. Wuha became a beam of light, and with a teleportation, he left. Luo Feng couldn't help but shake his head and exclaim, "Indeed the son of the northern true ocean master. He's not normal. This trade is worth it." This trade, Luo Feng gave up a true god body, and Wuha gave up a true god armor, large amounts of origin law lord weapons and armors, and the mechanical treasure. This mechanical treasure was called the Seven Sages Flying Armor. Its other aspects were average. Its specialty was survival and escaping. It was extremely good at dodging and changing directions, etc. To exchange for it at the armory, one had to pay 120,000 points. Of course, this Seven Swords flying armor could only be exchanged for 100,000 military merits when sent to the military base. One could see the dark side of the armory. 100,000 points could be used to compensate for one's mistakes and save one's life. Plus, not completing the mission wouldn't give him any points. In truth, Wuha received the true god body from Luo Feng and saved his life for another 10,000 points. That was equivalent to 110,000 points. Actually, Wuha was careless. He originally thought that with so many treasures on him, he would be able to complete the disaster level mission. However, after the mission began, he was dumbfounded. First was the Battle Royale. He only managed to get a portion of the points. After the Battle Royale, Wuha was very clear. Xin Yushan and Nine Smoke Swamp would definitely be extremely cautious after the final battle. To slowly kill a few thousand Origin Law Lords in the Nine Smoke Swamp area, that was simply a dream. As for the armor and weapons he got from the captain, Ku Fa and Yuluo, he was just one person. The other three were a group. The moment he got mixed up, he would definitely be killed. The most important thing was, before completing the mission, there was no way to trade at the armory, and no way to exchange the Seven Sages armor for points. Hence, he could only beg Luo Feng. After the trade with Wuha, Luo Feng had over 30 true god bodies on hand. He wasn't in a rush to exchange for treasures. Inhe, I beg you, help me this once. I will never forget this great favor. I'm willing to give you all my treasures in exchange for a true god's corpse. Inhe, as long as you help me, I'll only listen to your orders. If you wanted to kill the captain, I'll do it. Inhe, Luo Feng's communication card had always been in contact with his team soldiers. They had never given up on getting a true god corpse from him. And now that he was in the army camp, no one could even think of killing him. They could only lower their heads and trade with him. In short, take out a treasure worth 100,000 military merits in exchange for the corpse of a true god beast. If you don't have a treasure worth 100,000 merit points, I don't care if you live or die. Luo Feng's reply was very direct. This group of soldiers didn't care about his life or death. There was no need for him to care about the lives of these soldiers. Of course, if he could take out a treasure worth 100,000 contribution points, he could consider it. After all, he still had to fight for the human race. Luo Feng was greedy. Those soldiers were poor. This group of poor soldiers could not take out a treasure worth 100,000 military merits. Of course, the captain could, but the captain himself had the corpse of a true god. Hence, Luo Feng trained as he waited. After waiting for a whole year, there wasn't a single successful trade. Inhe, you're too greedy. Damn you, Inhe. Damn it. Not being able to get what they wanted, the group of soldiers were furious, even hating Luo Feng. I don't care if you all die. Luo Feng didn't care at all. Luo Feng completed this army mission for the third year. Only then did he return to the army base, exchanging the 7 flying armor for merit points, the other 33 true god corpses for merit points, and began exchanging for treasures. The main thing was exchanging for a mechanical treasure, the Golden Claw God, spending 400,000 merit points. The remaining military merits were used to exchange for a domain-type supreme treasure, true god level, costing him 30,000 military merits. Golden Claw God. Luo Feng stood on his own island within the huge stone house's hall. In the empty hall, there was a golden statue standing there. Luo Feng was carefully looking at this golden statue. Golden cloth god. Luo Feng muttered softly. Single body type machinery, similar to the mysterious Wu Qi god, only its power is much smaller. Much smaller was relative to the Wu Qi god. After all, this was a mechanical treasure that cost 400,000 merit points. It was definitely much stronger than the Black Cloud Wings, etc. Defense, attack, speed, they're all strong. Luo Feng nodded, very perfect. Being strong in every aspect meant that it wasn't overpowered, but it had no weaknesses. Deep within, Luo Feng actually had his eyes on the Wu Qi god, hence he made a simplified version, the Golden Claw god, and he liked these types of mechanical treasures that had no weaknesses. He didn't have enough merit points before, but after exchanging the 7 flying armor, he had enough. Let's give it a try. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. The golden statue before him flew towards him. Hua! The golden light flowed and instantly covered Luo Feng's entire body. In an instant, Luo Feng became a huge golden monster wearing a mask. This golden monster was humanoid, but his hands and legs were claws. His head was triangular, and he emitted an endless wild and ferocious energy. As the golden claw god was on him, it forced the Python River Army's armor to retreat. The two couldn't coexist. Luo Feng felt as though he had changed into a powerful armor. God energy ignition. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. Rumble, the burning god energy, swiftly entered the golden claw god armor. The strong energy immediately passed through the engravings within the golden claw god. However, the result was he couldn't control it. Obviously, the engravings within were too difficult. Luo Feng could only temporarily stop the god energy ignition and carefully study the engravings. With Luo Feng's technique level, after studying for a total of 3 days, he finally understood how to control the entire golden claw god. Very quickly, following the large amounts of god energy ignition, following the countless engravings, the energy fused together and finally gathered at a point on the back of the golden claw god armor, 2 points on the shoulders and 2 points on the knees. A total of 5 centers. Energy conversion. CSI, the golden resilient energy, after conversion, swiftly spread to every part of the golden claw god. The golden energy and the golden claw god were incomparably compatible. Its power immediately rose. It's indeed different. With just 1 conversion, its power has risen by 2 levels. Luo Feng was overjoyed. My level 9 attack, if unleashed through the golden claw god, will it be level 11? Luo Feng truly felt the power of the mechanical treasures. There's such a treasure. I've always stood at the pinnacle of the universe C, with this ancient golden claw god. Who in the universe C can be my match? Luo Feng was incomparably happy. In terms of battle strength, he was even stronger than the ancestor back then. Of course, the reason for this was because the ancestor didn't know the god energy ignition technique, and also because he didn't have any mechanical treasures. He believed that as the powers of the universe C entered the gene world, the entire universe C's battle strength would rise as a whole. However, mechanical treasures were normally only available to special army soldiers, and the amount of merit points required was very high. In a short period of time, it would be very difficult for the powers of the universe C to exchange for mechanical treasures. With the golden claw god in his hands, Luo Feng naturally focused on his research, even going so far as to specially with the golden claw god and enter the inheritance space within the tomb boat to train. Training time after time, it made Luo Feng even more emotional. No wonder the ancient civilization's records had so much praise for the mechanical treasures. Other than the pinnacle existences of the ancient civilization, normal warriors that used the mechanical treasures were able to explode with power far beyond their own. Just like himself, just a very well-rounded golden claw god was able to raise his power by 2 levels. And this is just a single piece of machinery. Like those groups with over 10,000 true gods, even over 1 million true gods controlling mechanical treasures. Luo Feng exclaimed. Large-scale wars were like that. Over 1 million true gods controlling one mechanical treasure. They could easily chase after an eternal true god. Time passed. Luo Feng had been in the Gene world for about 5,600 years. Wuha quietly arrived on Luo Feng's island. Inhi, the captain and the others are back. Wuha seemed to be gloating. Luo Feng was shocked. Half an era had passed. He had almost forgotten about the captain and the other soldiers. How was it? How could it be? Of course it was terrible. Wuha shook his ugly head and said, more than half of the 3 groups of soldiers died, and even Yu Luo was killed. Kufa, however, came back alive. Yu Luo died? Luo Feng was shocked. Yu Luo was the leader of that group. It shouldn't have been hard for him to gather enough merit points. Who knows? I heard the battle was intense. Wuha exclaimed. Originally, a disaster-level mission shouldn't have resulted in so many deaths. I heard it was because the captain was too vicious, forcing Kufa and Yu Luo to go crazy. Yu Luo died. Kufa luckily survived. However, that captain's rewards were not small. This time, the old soldiers had suffered heavy losses. Luo Feng and Wuha, these 2 new soldiers, had no sympathy for them. Some of the surviving soldiers hated Luo Feng. Even as they flew past Luo Feng's island, they cursed and scolded him. They only thought Luo Feng's movements were powerful. They weren't afraid of him. If they had seen him kill a true god, they probably wouldn't have dared. It was a pity only the captain saw it personally, and the captain didn't announce it. Of course, some of them hated Luo Feng, some ignored him, the last few even took the initiative to befriend Luo Feng. Cause a ruckus. I'm just a passerby. I hope before I leave the Gene world, you guys are still alive. Luo Feng didn't care about this group of soldiers at all. During this peaceful period, he went to the armory to apply for a title mission. Obtaining a title mission was dangerous, but at least there was a 10% chance of survival. Luo Feng believed that he was definitely 1 in 1,000 of the elite soldiers. It shouldn't be hard for him to survive. What's more, he had the ability to clone himself. How could he not try this title mission? Just like that, time flowed. In the blink of an eye, Luo Feng's first era in the Gene world passed just like that. Today's 2nd chapter of the 3rd chapter. Tomato continues writing the 3rd chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1398. The huge humanoid life form was still lying within the universe sea, and the warriors from the various powers that had been peaceful for close to an era had already arrived. Beams of different colored lights pierced through space and flew into the humanoid life form's mouth and into its body. In the space outside the small universe Gene world, there were many palace treasures floating. They came from the 3 great reincarnation eras and the 2 sacred lands of the universe sea. If the first era was just an army marching forward to explore, then this time would be the first true large-scale entry. Within the resplendent star like palaces and treasures, within a 9-level pagoda, the Gene world is filled with danger. Everyone follow me in. I'll bring you all directly to the Eastern Army camp. When that time comes, everyone will join the army. Everyone knows the dangers of joining the army. I don't have to say much. After entering the army, everything will depend on yourselves. Yuhai Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings and said, That's natural. Milky Way leader will have to trouble you. The universe lords all spoke. Yuhai Luo Feng nodded. This was the new Yuhai Luo Feng. As the new Yuhai Luo Feng had reached the perfect gene level, his natural god body was as strong as his earth body and the golden horn beast. Luo Feng. Standing beside Yuhai Luo Feng was the primal chaos city leader. He communicated, This time, all the other races of the Great Alliance are entering, a total of 36 universe lords. They aren't humans after all, you just have to guide them from the start. As for the future, you don't have to worry too much. Protecting yourself is the most important thing. I understand. Luo Feng nodded and smiled. The color has changed. Yuhai Luo Feng looked at the distant small universe Gene world outside. The outer membrane of the small universe Gene world had already turned white. Obviously, the obstructions had dropped to the lowest level and they could enter. We can enter. The color has changed. We can enter the fourth danger zone. Enter the Gene world. The palaces and treasures that were originally floating in the void outside the realm of Gene immediately passed through the membrane and descended upon the realm of Gene. At the same time, streams of light came out of the small cosmos Gene realm. Clearly, they were the first batch of people to enter the small cosmos and were still alive. So, a silver battleship swiftly flew over. It was the tomb boat. Let's head over, Yuhai Luo Feng said. Very quickly, the tomb boat and the star tower approached each other. At the same time, the cabin door of the tomb boat opened. Go over, Yuhai Luo Feng ordered. Immediately, the universe lords of the Great Alliance left the Star Pagoda and entered the tomb boat. Only Yuhai Luo Feng and the Primal Chaos City leader were left in the Star Pagoda. The Primal Chaos City leader immediately realized Yuhai Luo Feng's body was swiftly weakening. Within moments, he was only left with 80%. What is it? The Primal Chaos City master asked. I consumed a lot of energy in the realm of Gene. I need to replenish it. Yuhai Luo Feng smiled. Back when he killed that beast true god, he was after all using the second level of annihilation. Under those circumstances, the consumption was simply shocking. Even though he killed that beast god, Luo Feng's divine body was greatly drained. Luckily, he had the golden horned beast to replenish his energy, allowing him to maintain his peak condition. It was very difficult to replenish divine power in the realm of Gene. A great era passed. It was only slightly replenished. And at this time, inside the tomb boat was the earth body and the golden horned beast. The distance was close. The god energy could naturally be exchanged and replenished. Now that I've learned the burning god energy technique and have a set of ultimate treasures, even in Universe C, I can unleash the pinnacle of level 10 strength, comparable to the ancestor back then. Now, I can trample on you however I want. Look, this is my new supreme treasure battleship. Inside a dazzling golden battleship, Rampage Fiend God was bragging to his old friend, Star-Lord Bei Qi. You're vicious, you're powerful. Bei Qi forcefully resisted listening to Rampage Demon's bragging. Ha ha ha. Rampage Demon was extremely proud. He was a lone traveler. After acquiring a powerful treasure, how could he not flaunt it? Rumble. The battleship flew at high speeds, even knocking away another ball-shaped treasure. Who dares to knock into my god-eyed race palace? That ball-shaped treasure immediately had a powerful warrior raging, communicating, and roaring. I'm Rampage, so what? Rampage Demon was, however, unbridled. Immediately, the god-eyed race calmed down. Back then, Rampage Demon's plan was to acquire more ultimate treasures in the Universe C. However, as the army's information was unearthed, it was transmitted to the various powers of the Universe C. His plan eventually failed, and Rampage Demon took the initiative to flaunt to let the Universe C know just how strong he was now. Even the god-eyed race, against a lone traveler Rampage Demon, they could only swallow their anger and walk away. Let's go. Within the tomb boat, Luo Feng stood within the palace. Behind him were the 36 universe lords of the Great Alliance. Naturally, they all listened to him. So, following the order, the ship immediately flew towards the realm of Gene. A large number of universe lords were gathered inside a pitch-black battleship. There were close to 100 of them. The ancestor has ordered. This time, our Purple Moon's sacred land will enter Gene world. Our first goal is to borrow the army to kill the Milky Way leader Luo Feng. As long as the army attacks, their souls will destroy Luo Feng. His many bodies will be destroyed. He won't even have a chance to revive. We will first find out where he is. A two-faced, four-armed black armored man roared. The group of universe lords below all listened solemnly. The group of universe lords from the Great Alliance have already set off. Let's follow. Rumble. The black battleship. As the tomb boat flew towards Gene world, it too followed closely. Back in the first era, there were very few who entered, and most of them died. Those who could survive an era in Gene world were very few. Hence many powers only received information about Gene world from the Great Alliance and other places. They themselves didn't have any strong warriors in Gene World. Hence, they were still wary and worried that the information they received was inaccurate. Hence, in this second era, the various powers of the Universe C had a total of over 1,000 Universe Lords heading out. Comparatively speaking, it wasn't much, because especially in the first era, the number of Universe Lords exceeded 2,000. They were facing their limits if they knew more about Gene World. Just from the first era alone, more than half of them would rush in. And currently, in the entire first era, there were only about 600 that entered. It was believed that in the third era, there would be a new peak. I lost him. The moment the Purple Moon Black battleship entered Gene World, it discovered that the tomb boat had swiftly teleported away. Even though I lost him, the location where Luo Feng led the group of Universe Lord from the Great Alliance was obviously in the East Army's area. Luo Feng could very well have joined the East Army. However, just in case, of our close to 100 Universe Lords, 20 will go to the North Army, 20 to the South Army, 20 to the West Army, and the rest to the East Army. The Purple Moon Black battleship began to depart. After all, 2 Universe Lords from the Purple Moon Sacred Land had entered before. This era's time was enough for them to get a rough map of Gene World, allowing them to know the locations of the 4 armies. The various powers of the universe entered silently, almost like a pail of water being poured into the vast ocean. It didn't cause any commotion at all. East Army Camp, Mang River Camp. Inhi. A voice resounded from outside. Luo Feng walked out of the stone house and looked up into the sky. There was a ferocious beast Wuha. Inhi, the other soldiers are preparing to depart for this era's army mission. Wuha said, and the 9 new recruits from the previous era, they too will be going for the mission. Let's depart too. Wuha was more than happy to team up with Luo Feng. 9 new recruits? Luo Feng was shocked. The soldiers that joined in the recent era after accepting the mission naturally had to wait until the new era to begin their first mission. However, the entire Mang River Army was so big, his little team only had 9 soldiers. It was a little too much. Every era of the Mang River Army, there will be quite a few soldiers, because our little team has just gone through a disaster-level mission, and our losses are huge. Hence, we mainly replenish our team. Wuha explained. Then let's go. Luo Feng nodded. However, Wuha, I'll tell you beforehand, this time I won't be working with you. Not working together? Wuha was curious. However, he wasn't worried, because after the disaster-level mission, for a very, very long time, the army missions would be very easy. I have something to do. Luo Feng didn't say much. Titled mission, he didn't want to talk too much about it. They first headed to the Basic Inheritance Island to meet up. Obviously, the captain and the other old soldiers were hostile towards Luo Feng, while the rest were friendly. This made the 9 new recruits curious about Luo Feng. Recruits, let me remind you. Luo Feng arrived at the Basic Inheritance Island, completely ignoring the captain and the others, saying to the 9 new recruits, Kufa is not bad. You can follow her. As for the captain, if you don't want to die, don't follow him. The new recruits were shocked. Inhi, the captain's expression was ugly. Did I say something wrong? Luo Feng glanced at him. The entire 6 team, everyone could feel the hostility between Luo Feng and the captain. Actually, back when the captain was greedy for Luo Feng's huge amount of merit points, the two had already been on opposing sides. The captain had personally witnessed Luo Feng's strength, plus the huge amount of merit points he got from the previous mission. Exchanging for a mechanical treasure was easy. After this era, his strength would definitely be much stronger than before. Hence, deep within, the captain feared Luo Feng. Go accept the army mission. The captain immediately turned and ordered. Spending close to a day's time, they passed through the army camp and arrived before the evil shrine. Rumble. A beam of light enveloped the entire 6 team. The other soldiers all received simple missions, while Luo Feng received a title mission. God Emperor Valley? The place where the God Emperor lived back then? Luo Feng's eyes gleamed with shock. The location of the titled mission is actually there. Asterisk, to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1399. Titled Mission, Overlord Level, Location, God Emperor Valley Mission Details. God Emperor Valley is where the great God Emperor lived back then. It's also where he created the Awakening Crow God. Within the God Emperor Valley, there's a tower called the Awakening Crow Tower. It's 9 levels high. The 9th level is the highest to date. Only the God Emperor has entered the 9th level. The mission's goal is to enter the Awakening Crow Tower and reach the 9th level. Whoever reaches the top will receive a title. Reward: return alive and receive 10,000 points. Success will receive a title. Endless benefits. Punishment: no punishment for failure. Important reminder. This mission is extremely dangerous. The participants are the pinnacle of the 4 armies of the Gene world. All of them have gone through much training and are well prepared. The death rate is over 90%. You have to be careful. The titled mission seemed simple. There was no punishment for failure. However, in truth, the high death rate was the most terrifying punishment. Everyone who accepted the titled mission knew of this death rate. Almost all of them would prepare a palace-type treasure or even a machine-type treasure. However, so many still died. Don't get careless. If I die, the Golden Claw God, Tomb Bow, Blood Shadow Blade, Python River Army Armor, etc. are taken away by the other soldiers. That would be a joke. Luo Feng reminded himself. This mission is extremely simple. As long as you recruits don't mess around, you can easily pass this mission. The captain's voice resounded from beside. The last time was a disaster-level mission. We survived with the captain. You 9 recruits, why aren't you coming over? We're willing to accept you. Why aren't you coming? The captain and his subordinates all shouted. Following you, even if we don't die this time, we'll die in the future. Kufa said coldly. Haven't you guys suffered enough? If it wasn't for me and you Luo teaming up, forcing the captain to not abandon you, do you think you'd survive? The 9 recruits immediately hesitated. I'm willing to stay with Kufa and the rest. Wuha shouted loudly from the side. Luo Feng, who was thinking about the titled mission, turned to look. The other side was obviously like fire and water, the captain and Kufa's group. And Wuha too joined Kufa and the rest, leaving only the 9 hesitating recruits. These recruits even looked at Luo Feng. They could feel that the captain and Kufa were afraid of Luo Feng. Stay with Kufa and the rest. At least if Kufa wants to abandon you, she doesn't have the power. Luo Feng said softly. As soon as he said that, some of the hesitant recruits immediately walked towards Kufa's group. After the first recruit joined Kufa's group, the other recruits also walked towards Kufa's group. They also felt that Inhe's words were reasonable. In terms of strength, Kufa was inferior to their captain. Even if Kufa wanted to use such a large group of soldiers, he didn't have the ability. Inhe, are you going to make an enemy out of the captain? Inhe. Immediately, the soldiers under the captain roared. The captain didn't speak. Only his gray eyes under his curved horns stared straight at Luo Feng. Becoming enemies with your captain? Luo Feng glanced at the captain, lightly laughing. Is he worthy? The soldier's eyes widened, and the captain's face turned ugly. Inhe, I don't have time to waste with you. Kufa Wuha, let's go. Luo Feng smiled and waved to Kufa and Wuha, immediately heading towards the warped wormhole not too far away. Kufa and his group of soldiers were still upset that Luo Feng didn't trade with them back then. However, they were clear. The captain and his group couldn't do anything to Inhe, much less them. What's more, they didn't have any enmity with Inhe. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Let's go. Let's go. Kufa, Wuha, and the others majestically flew into the wormhole. The captain and his group's expressions were ugly. Captain, we're letting Inhe go just like that? If we let Inhe go like that, he'll still fight with you in the future. Right now, we don't even have 10 soldiers on our side. Kufa and his group have a most. If he causes trouble again, Captain, you won't have any authority in the future. You can't let Inhe go like that. Captain, the old soldiers all looked at the captain. The captain said coldly, ignore him for now. So, the captain led the way into the wormhole. The other old soldiers looked at each other. How could the proud and ruthless captain be so soft on Inhe? Unless the captain was really afraid of Inhe? These old soldiers began to have many thoughts. Simultaneously, they all flew into the wormhole. In a region outside the Eastern Army camp, large amounts of wormhole exits were gathered here. Rumble, 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 rumble. Batches of soldiers appeared from the wormhole. These soldiers chatted amongst themselves, after which they too rode on their battleships and swiftly left. Not far away from this area, on top of an ancient tree, there was a gray-armored soldier staring at it. There are so many going on missions. The gray-armored soldier communicated. You say, if we keep watching, how long will it take? Right now, the previous era has just ended and the new era has just begun. All the teams are leaving to do their missions. It's the craziest time. If that Luo Feng wants to leave, he'll probably leave at this time too. The primogenitor specially ordered for the 10 of us to guard the area. If we endure these 100 years, we'll be able to go do our missions. Not far away, the soldier leaning against a large tree seemed to be very relaxed, but in fact, he was also staring at that large area. At this time, Purple Moon's Sacred Land universe, a total of 10 universe lords were watching the area. This was the peak time for the soldiers to leave. Luo Feng's chances of appearing were the highest. How could they be careless? Even if they didn't go on missions, they still had to watch. Look, it's the Blood Ochre Army. Watch, that's the Special Army. Luo Feng's highest chance of appearing is the Special Army. Amongst the large amounts of soldiers that appeared, occasionally there would be Special Army soldiers. As time passed, occasionally there would be a small team of Special Army soldiers, occasionally a small team. Finally, rumble. A group of silhouettes flew out from one of the wormholes. It's the Python River Army, also a Special Army. Watch. Purple Moon's Sacred Land universe had 10 universe lords guarding the area. A total of 6 of them stared in this direction. The group of silhouettes flew out, all of them dressed in the Python River Army armor. Just from the armor alone, one could tell who they were. The first batch of universe lords from Purple Moon's Sacred Land entered. At least they were able to find out more about the special armies within the East Army. Inhi, we'll split up here. Inhi, if you're not going on missions with us, where are you going? Wuha and Kufa spoke. I have important matters to attend to. Luo Feng smiled. As it was a normal conversation, whether it was Luo Feng, Wuha, or Kufa, they all spoke normally without any sneaky transmissions. The 6 universe lords of Purple Moon's Sacred Land were all staring. When they saw Luo Feng, they didn't realize that he was the target. Because within this army, Luo Feng's appearance had changed slightly. His skin color had changed slightly too. He looked even more crude, plus he was covered in the Python River armor and helmet, hence they couldn't tell. However, as Luo Feng and the others spoke, even though they were far away and couldn't hear clearly, the 6 universe lords only needed to look at their lips to easily determine what they were saying. Inhi? This word immediately moved them. The target looks like a human. It's very likely he's the Milky Way leader Luo Feng. Watch him. Immediately go identify him. Soon, one of the 10 universe lords, standing guard in the distance, immediately came out. It was an ordinary-looking gray-armored soldier who turned into a stream of light and flew towards the wormhole region where a large number of soldiers were gathered. So, as there were many soldiers around, Luo Feng didn't even notice that normal soldier, following him as he flew past. Luo Feng frowned and turned to look. Aura. This was an aura he recognized. There were only so many warriors in the cosmic sea. Back then, to stop the huge being, there were thousands of universe lords gathered. Luo Feng naturally recognized many universe lords. The one before was one of them. Sensing his aura, he should be from the Purple Moon Sacred Land. What a coincidence. I actually met one here. Luo Feng was suspicious within. Looks like he should have noticed me. Even if he did, so what? Here it's not their turn. Luo Feng didn't put the Purple Moon Sacred Land in his eyes. After all, the rules of Gene World were set by the army. What was the Purple Moon Sacred Land? Time to go. Luo Feng piloted a battleship and swiftly tore through space. That gray-armored soldier flew past Luo Feng and immediately confirmed, it's Luo Feng's aura. It's his aura? That Python River soldier was Luo Feng. Confirmed. It's Luo Feng. News confirmed. Immediately report to the ancestor. The incredibly excited group of universe lords from the Purple Moon Sacred Land immediately reported the news to the Purple Moon ancestor. Cosmic Sea, Purple Moon Sacred Land Universe. Within the palace, a purple silhouette stood there, and below him were 10 universe lords kneeling. Confirmed it's Luo Feng? The purple silhouette gazed below. Yes, it's Luo Feng. His name in Gene World is Ein He, and I personally flew past him and felt his life energy. It's Luo Feng's Earth God body. One of the universe lords kneeling below said respectfully, "Very good." The Purple Moon ancestor nodded. "Since we've confirmed he's from the Python River Army, immediately investigate and find out which team and team he's from. We have to be clear." "Yes." The people below all replied. This was easy. The Python River Army had so many soldiers after all, and knowing their names, along with their looks, it was naturally easy to investigate. After investigating, there's no rush to act. The Purple Moon ancestor ordered. The moment it's done, wait patiently for Luo Feng to return to his camp. The moment he does, we'll begin the ambush. If we do it earlier and the Han Alliance finds out, they'll inform Luo Feng. It won't be good if he escapes. When he returns, he'll fall into the ambush and have nowhere to run. Yes. The 10 soldiers all replied respectfully. Asterisk, 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 to be continued. If you like this work, please come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1400. When Luo Feng headed towards the God King Valley, in the distant primal universe, human territory, primal region. Hua Hua. The endless dark ocean rippled constantly. Endless and limitless. After over 8 million years, the size of the endless dark ocean compared to the time of the war between the human and allied armies was much, much bigger. The endless dark ocean sat in the primal region, causing every warrior that came to the primal region to be shocked and shocked. This is the endless dark ocean. Endless dark ocean? The legendary Great Milky Way leader's body. Rumor has it that during the war, close to 1,000 universe lord from the allied armies couldn't do anything to the Milky Way leader. Just how big is this? Such a huge body, even if it continuously burns its god energy, how long will it take to burn it all out? A ship was flying above the endless dark ocean. Within it, Undyings and Sector Lords were all looking out, looking at the endless dark ocean. All of them were extremely excited. In these 8 million years, humanity's position in the primal universe had gotten higher and higher. Because the small-scale battles between humanity and the allied armies had always been going on. Large amounts of Sector Lords, Undyings, Knights they would often fight. Occasionally universe lords would fight amongst themselves. Hence the news of the war had long spread amongst humanity, causing the Sector Lords and Undyings to be filled with confidence and fighting spirit. Also, under the deliberate guidance of humanity, the entire human race's generation after generation of Sector Lords and Undyings all remembered the primal Chaos City leader and Milky Way leader. Maybe these Sector Lords and Undyings didn't know what the strongest in the universe meant, but they knew one thing. The most important and strongest of humanity were the primal Chaos City leader and Milky Way leader. The two of them were the pillars of humanity. The great Milky Way leader's body, just how big is it? The endless dark ocean is said to be constantly growing. Back then I received news that its diameter was over 1 trillion kilometers. It's definitely much bigger now. They were all discussing. The Emperor-level Undyings piloting the ship. A skinny man with a head full of golden scales spoke. The great Milky Way leader's endless dark ocean body. Its diameter is now over 2 light years. 2 light years? Wow, such a huge body. Back then, close to 1,000 universe lords couldn't even deal with the Milky Way leader. Now he's definitely invincible. Invincible. The Sector Lords and Undyings were all shocked and filled with reverence. This universe ship flew above the endless ghost ocean, and the endless ghost ocean was as calm as before. After all, humanity's efforts in nurturing geniuses had greatly increased. Especially with the ancient civilization, many sector lords and undyings were sent to the primal region to be nurtured, or sent to primal chaos city to be nurtured. In short, anyone who passed by the endless tranquil sea would be amazed. At this moment, in the central region of the endless tranquil ocean, there was a vacuum region with a diameter of 10 billion kilometers. Not a single drop of seawater from the endless tranquil ocean entered it, and it was like a huge bubble in the center of the endless tranquil ocean. In this vacuum region, there were a large number of items floating in the air. All kinds of metals, minerals, soil, liquids. How big was a region with a diameter of 10 billion kilometers? However, this vacuum region was almost filled to the brim. It could be said that everything that could be found in the primeval universe, from the ordinary planets, stars, neutron stars, black holes, to the mysterious special fruit of life, the immortal tree, and so on. There were even parts of the corpses of the billions of races in the universe, and even parts of the corpses of a large number of special life forms, dead or alive, from the primeval universe, the cosmic sea, and even the gene realm. Billions of metals, billions of special energy bodies, billions of liquids, trillions of plants, all matter, even all life forms, from the lowest single-cell organisms to the highest universe lords and true god corpses. Even the drop of god blood forced out of Wu Yi's white wings was all stored here. Natural ability, creation. Once again, he unleashed his natural ability. Immediately, the vacuum region within the endless tranquil sea fell into a unique domain. This unique domain could not be obtained through cultivation. It was purely a domain brought about by using the innate talent secret technique of creation. Within this unique domain, everything within the domain would be rapidly dissected, with the intention of dissecting the source of their life. Large amounts of the gene realm's countless metals, plants, etc., especially large amounts of true god blood and scales, etc. I hope I'll have a huge harvest this time. Luo Feng was filled with anticipation. Before, he was stuck at a bottleneck in his god energy path. The main thing was that there were too few true god life forms that could be dissected. Even though there was a drop of powerful god blood, that drop was too high level, and he couldn't understand it. It was completely silent. The floating drops of blood, scales, and even hair were dissected. The life source structure, everything appeared before Luo Feng's eyes. Complex, comparable to the Sharpness Emperor game. It far surpassed any of the Sharpness Emperor games Luo Feng had studied before. After all, this was the life source structure of a true god. Luckily, Luo Feng didn't need to study it completely. All he needed to do was to find out the difference between a true god and a universe lord's life source structure, and then change his own life source structure to upgrade his genes. So much true god blood, scales, hair, it's really satisfying. Immediately, trillions of thoughts were discovered by Luo Feng. However, these trillions of thoughts were all wrong. When the endless tranquil ocean was being dissected within the gene realm, the golden horned beast that was hiding in the training space, maintaining 10,000 times time acceleration, was experimenting. God energy dissect. Golden horned Luo Feng's thoughts moved. Hua! Immediately, one of the golden horned beast's claws dissected into large amounts of God energy floating around. Life reform. The life source structure within the God energy was immediately controlled and modified by Luo Feng, almost like genetic modification. However, Luo Feng's was obviously on a higher level. He had already modified the basic structure to allow himself to break through. The moment he succeeded, he would immediately become a powerful true god. Pung! With an explosion, the god energy once again gathered and returned to its original life source structure. The perfect genes from before were extremely perfect and stable life sources. Wanting to break through and surpass them was extremely difficult. God energy reform failed. Try again. After receiving the large amounts of true god blood, scales, and hair from the gene realm, Luo Feng had a large amount of thoughts and ideas. Naturally, he had to constantly experiment and explore the mysteries of life. Failure. Reform failed. Every time he failed, he gained experience. Every path all led to the same destination. The life source was also one of the evolution sources of the universe. It too contained the ultimate mysteries. This path of God energy development was very beneficial to Luo Feng's creation of techniques and other things. Time passed. The training space had 10,000 times time acceleration. In the blink of an eye, 160 years had passed. I'll definitely succeed. I have a feeling I'm about to succeed. I was so close last time. Life reform. The entrenched golden-horned bee's claws transformed into a vast amount of God energy. The God energy was swiftly changing within itself. The most basic structure within was undergoing a change. Everything stopped. Luo Feng stopped his control, finally stopping. If he failed, then the God energy that was changed would swiftly break down and recover. If it was stable, it meant there was a chance of success. After all, even if it was stable, the new life source structure wouldn't necessarily surpass the limits of perfection. It could even be lower, like 9,800 times life energy. It's stable. Luo Feng was overjoyed. God energy level. Luo Feng carefully felt it. This was a new God energy, strong and extremely sharp, almost as though it was ready to attack at any moment. 16,000 times. Luo Feng immediately made a rough judgment. I've succeeded. Luo Feng was immediately overjoyed. I've broken through the perfect gene bottleneck. If he had been studying the origin law lords and countless other substances, he might have been able to break through. However, it was too difficult. And a true God's life source was obviously much higher, giving Luo Feng countless ideas and paths. After being stuck at the bottleneck for over 8 million years, under the situation where he had enough true God blood, scales, and hair, he broke through in just over 100 years. God body reform. Golden-horned Luo Feng roared. Rumble. The entire golden-horned beast suddenly broke apart, transforming into a vast amount of God energy, following which large amounts of God energy swiftly condensed and transformed back into a golden-horned beast. This was a golden-horned beast that looked exactly the same. However, its energy was obviously much stronger. God body reform. The body of the earthling in the tomb boat was also instantly reconstructed. His gene level immediately soared to 16,000 times. His quality had improved, but his God's body had decreased again. The earthling's God's body was only left with 60% or so. Replenish. The golden-horned beast's God energy swiftly replenished, allowing the earth-human body to swiftly recover to 100% of his God body. This feeling, it's wonderful. Luo Feng revealed a look of glee. He could feel his God body itching to try. Even the distant God country was restless, because the God body's strength allowed it to hold an even stronger God country. The God country only needed to expand, and it would immediately transform into a small universe. Meaning, as long as Luo Feng was willing, he could immediately transform the God country into a small universe. And his God body would rise by 100 times, entering the true God level. Only, right now his life genetic level was only 16,000 times. It was far from Luo Feng's requirements. Even this level didn't help his strength much. After all, the God body path had 3 levels. Reaching 30,000 times was the first level. Only then would the body's height increase by 10 times. And right now, Luo Feng couldn't even increase his body's height. I've only just gotten the scales and blood of these true gods, and I've already reached 16,000 times. Luo Feng was filled with confidence, even though over 100 years had passed in the training space. In truth, only 4 days had passed in the outside world when Luo Feng rowed the tomb boat to the godly King Valley. Luo Feng still needed over a month to reach the distant godly King Valley. 1.5 months later, Luo Feng, who was piloting the silver battleship, saw the vast continent in the center of the endless ocean. The godly King Valley was on that continent. I've arrived. Luo Feng's attention was temporarily diverted from his training, as he was about to begin the incomparably dangerous titled mission. The monthly votes have been bothering me. Brothers, I'm begging for monthly votes. Monthly votes are great support. Asterisk, to be continued. If you like this work, please come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1401. On the silver battleship, he looked down at the vast continent. As the silver battleship teleported closer, the continent quickly became clearer. This continent was called the Godly King World. Accurately speaking, the Gene World had 5 main continents. The Eastern Army, Western Army, Northern Army, and Southern Army each controlled a vast continent and part of the ocean. On the vast ocean, there were many scattered islands. Among them, the Godly King World was the biggest island. Plus, it was where the Godly King lived. Naturally, its position was special. Even though its area was not as big as the other 4 continents, due to its special position, it was still considered one of the 5. Godly King World. Luo Feng looked down. With a glance, the entire Godly King World continent was filled with mountains and lakes. It was a beautiful sight. Luo Feng was shocked. The countless undulating mountain ranges were like runes of laws. Even the lakes were like nodes. Just looking at the entire God King World, Luo Feng felt countless mysteries surge into his mind. It was just that it was too profound, far exceeding the level of comprehension Luo Feng could comprehend right now. That's right. Luo Feng nodded. According to the information I gathered, the Godly King World is where the Godly King lives. Normally, the living beings of the Gene World don't have the right to enter. I applied for a titled mission to be able to enter in this era. Where the Godly King lives, how can there not be some special formations or techniques to intimidate his subordinates? Luo Feng laughed. Just like the many important places in the primal region, they would twist space and place many dangers. And if the Godly King from the Gene World acted, it would naturally be even more extraordinary. Just as Luo Feng was controlling the tomb boat and flying high in the sky, suddenly a silhouette appeared from the vast continent below. Following closely, the silhouette swiftly flew towards Luo Feng. Godly King World restricted area. Trespassing is prohibited. Stop! A raging voice resounded. The voice rumbled. Immediately, the space around the tomb boat was isolated from the outside world. He couldn't escape even if he wanted to. Void True God. Luo Feng was shocked. I am the Eastern Army Python River Army Officer In He. Luo Feng exited the tomb boat cabin door and said towards the distance, because of a titled mission, I came to the Godly King World. Officer In He? The Void True God looked from afar and carefully inspected, after which the space around him returned to normal. Follow me, the Void Real God said. Luo Feng kept the tomb boat and flew over at once. He did not have any other thoughts in front of a Void Real God. After all, with the abilities of a Void Real God, no matter how hard he tried, he would still be killed. Hence, it was naturally better to be obedient. As he flew over, Luo Feng was also observing the Void Real God. The Void Real God was a warrior of the tribe, and it was obvious that he had a humanoid form. He had a dark golden body that seemed to be made of copper, 6 ears, and a pair of eyes that glowed with red light. Even though he was standing in the void, he gave off a domineering aura. And he greets Lord. Luo Feng flew closer and bowed. I'm one of the guardians of the God King realm. My name is Bait Song. The Void Real God said directly, if you want to take on the titled mission, follow me. I will bring you to the Divine King Valley. Without my guidance, you won't be able to reach God King Valley. Yes, Luo Feng replied. Whoosh, whoosh. The Godly King Realm Guard Bay Song led Luo Feng through an ultra-long-distance teleportation towards the Godly King Valley. Lore Bait Song. The more Luo Feng looked down, the more he felt that it was mysterious. I feel that the continent of the God King realm seems to have rule tattoos everywhere. Could it be that there are dangers everywhere? The Garbate Song looked at Luo Feng and let out a rare smile. Yes, the continent of the God King realm is indeed filled with danger. After all, the continent is too big. If a large number of overlords and true gods wander around, even if there are many guards, they can't take care of all of them. Then, once they trespass, they will be in danger of dying. Because of this, no one usually dares to enter the God King realm. Luo Feng nodded. The information he received also stated that trespassing was forbidden. Trespassing would result in death. As for the rule tattoos everywhere, the guard Bait Song sighed. Because the entire God King realm is a super mechanical type treasure created by His Majesty the God King. Mechanical type treasure? Luo Feng was shocked. Treasure, a supreme treasure. For the void real god of the world of Jin to call it a mechanical type treasure, it was definitely not something that any treasure in the cosmic sea could compare to. Such a huge mechanical type treasure? Luo Feng was stunned. One had to know that the universe boat's length was only about 100 million light years. And this continent of the God King realm was after all one of the 5 great continents. Even though it was far from the other 4 continents, the diameter of the God King realm was definitely more than 1 billion light years. Such a majestic and resplendent continent was actually a mechanical type treasure? Haha. His Majesty the God King is most proficient in mechanical type treasures. The guard Bait Song sighed proudly. This continent of the God King realm was just an experimental product of His Majesty back then. His Majesty still has the real God King realm. That treasure accompanied His Majesty the God King as he roamed the endless worlds. It's invincible. Luo Feng held his breath. He had seen the humanoid creature before. Just the humanoid creature's body was already so huge. Hence, it was normal for it to have such a ridiculous mechanical type treasure. If that huge creature really is His Majesty the God King, then how did His Majesty end up in such a state? Even His world of Jin, the universe lords and true gods of the cosmic sea can enter as they please, and the people of His world of Jin die one after another. Luo Feng felt the cosmic sea and the world of Jin seemed to be on opposite sides. Also, the cosmic sea had the advantage. The beings of the cosmic sea could enter the world of Jin, but the beings of the world of Jin couldn't. As they chatted very quickly, they arrived in the air above a beautiful valley. That's the Godly King Valley. Guard Bait Song pointed downwards. Below him was an incomparably beautiful and tranquil valley. Back then, when His Majesty was in the God King world, he often stayed in God King Valley. I've already told the guards of God King Valley about your arrival. Go ahead, the guard of God King Valley will not stop you. Thank you, Lord Bait Song, Luo Feng said. And that 9-level pagoda. The guard Bait Song pointed at the tallest building in the entire Godly King Valley. That's the Awakening Tower. Go, I hope after this title mission is over, I'll still be able to see you come out alive. After which the guard Bait Song shook his head and immediately teleported away. Luo Feng looked at the 9-level pagoda and thought, come out alive? Not only do I have to come out alive, I also want to see why over the countless years, not a single Origin Law Lord has been able to reach the top. I want to see what can stop me. Luo Feng was extremely proud and confident. How could he lose confidence just because of the danger of the titled mission? If he didn't have confidence, he wouldn't have come here. So, Luo Feng immediately flew over. The Godly King Valley was heavily guarded. However, the guards knew Luo Feng's identity and that he was here for the titled mission. Hence, it didn't stop him. They only communicated, entering the Godly King Valley, you're not allowed to fly. Hence, Luo Feng walked within the Godly King Valley and headed straight for the Awakening Tower. The Awakening Tower was over 1,000 light years tall. It was the tallest structure in the Godly King Valley. Below this majestic structure, there were 6 silhouettes. Soldier, come over. One of the 6 silhouettes, a unicorn beast, roared. This unicorn beast was the only true god around. The other 5 silhouettes were all Origin Law Lords. Luo Feng immediately walked over and swept his gaze. You are this batch's 6th Origin Law Lord. The unicorn beast roared. According to the rules, every 10 soldiers will enter the Awakening Tower together. Right now, there are a total of 3 batches entering. You're the 4th batch. Wait for a while and gather 10 soldiers before you enter. Luo Feng nodded to indicate he understood. On this patch of grass, the other 5 soldiers were either standing, sitting, or lying on their stomachs. Those are the strange bee soldiers. Python River Army? You are from the Eastern Army? A soldier walked over. He was a tall, thin, and strange soldier with a black beard. The soldier wore a strange beast pattern on his armor, and the head of a beast was also roaring on his helmet. You are from the Awakening Dragon Army? Luo Feng smiled. The Awakening Dragon Army was one of the special armies of the Eastern Army. I am from the Awakening Dragon Army, Su Zhong. That tall and skinny soldier said immediately. I am from the Python River Army, Yin He. Luo Feng said too. That tall and skinny soldier revealed an expression of closeness. He exclaimed, the other four are from other armies. They aren't from our Eastern Army. To be able to meet our Eastern Army here, I'm really happy. Which big team are you from? This is the first time I've seen you. I'm a new recruit, Luo Feng said casually. The moment he said that, the tall and skinny soldier revealed a look of shock. Even the other four soldiers nearby were shocked. New recruit, the tall and skinny soldier realized. No wonder I've never seen you before. You should have just joined a few years ago. There are only so many special armies in our Eastern Army. I recognize most of the most outstanding ones. However, Inhi, since you're doing a title mission, your power must be extremely strong. I believe your name will soon spread throughout the other special armies. Luo Feng laughed. Entering the Awakening Tower was extremely dangerous. Since they were all from the Eastern Army, if they could form a relationship, it might be of some help during the process. In the blink of an eye, another 6 days had passed. More and more soldiers arrived. 10 soldiers are enough. You are the 4th batch of soldiers that entered the Awakened Crows building. I'll tell you in advance that more than half of the first 3 batches of soldiers in the Awakened Crows building have died. I hope I can see you all come out alive. The 10 soldiers were shocked. More than half of the previous 3 batches had died. Luo Feng was shocked too. Those who dared to come here were definitely the elites of the 4 armies. Rumble, in the distance, that incomparably huge door that was over 100 light years tall was slowly opening. That huge door emitted a glaring rainbow light, making it hard for Luo Feng and the others to look straight at it. An endless pressure emanated from the Awakening Tower. Enter, the unicorn beast said. To be continued. If you like this work, please come at Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1402. Luo Feng and the other 10 soldiers from the 4th Army of the Jin world glanced at each other, after which they all became beams of light and flew towards the huge door. None of them dared to teleport. After all, they all knew the danger of the title mission. Wuqi Building, 1st level world. In the vast desert world, cold winds blew past. It was extremely cold, the sand grains had frost forming on them. In the distance, there was a huge space door, only to see 10 silhouettes flew in from the space door, all of them surveying their surroundings, before slowly descending and standing in the desert. Wuqi Building 1st level. Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings. It was an endless desert world. There was no end to it. Even the space door in the distance had vanished. This Wuqi Building is extremely dangerous. Beside Luo Feng, the tall and skinny soldier Su Zhong communicated. Inhi, what do you think the danger is? Is it beneath this endless desert? No idea. Luo Feng shook his head. 10 soldiers, a total of 6 tribal warriors and 4 beast warriors. All of them were extremely cautious. Of the 10 soldiers, only 2 were from the Eastern Army, Luo Feng and Su Zhong. The 2 of them naturally got closer to each other. If they met with any danger, they would be able to deal with it together. Rumble. In the peaceful desert world, there was suddenly a huge rumble. The energy ripple spread out in all directions, immediately sweeping through the endless region. Luo Feng and the others all felt the ripple. Turning to look, they saw in the distant sky above the desert world a glaring lightning-like pillar of light, twisting and extending downwards. Within a few seconds, that huge green pillar of light had connected the desert and the endless sky. What is that? It seems to contain an extremely strong energy. The soldiers were all extremely curious. At this time, On the surface of the endless green light pillar that connected the desert and the highest point, huge black words suddenly appeared, black as ink. Every word emitted an overflowing killing intent. That killing intent immediately invaded the minds of Luo Feng and the other soldiers. The strong killing intent. Even Luo Feng's willpower couldn't help but feel restless. His eyes were slightly red. His heart seemed to be roaring constantly. The black words appeared one by one. This is the pathway that connects the first and second level of the Wuqi building. Those who enter the pathway will be able to enter the second level. You must kill a soldier to enter the tunnel. If you don't kill the other soldiers, you will never be able to leave. Before the next batch of soldiers opens the door again, those who haven't entered the second floor will be annihilated. Those who hide in warship-type treasures to avoid the battle are considered to have failed and will be annihilated. The black words floated in the air, emitting a boundless pressure. Just the killing intent within the words alone was enough to make every soldier unable to hold it in. With such power, if he wanted to destroy these Law Lord soldiers, a simple sweep would be enough. No one could play any pranks within the Awakening Crow building. Luo Feng and the other 10 soldiers didn't doubt the authenticity of the words at all. So, we have to kill one soldier to enter the pathway and enter the second level. Luo Feng was shocked. That means out of 10 soldiers, at least 5 have to die. Luo Feng immediately understood why the horned beast outside said the first 3 batches of soldiers had died. Kill one? Who should I choose? Luo Feng's gaze swept around. As the 10 soldiers entered together, they weren't too far from each other, all of them looking around cautiously. They were all thinking which soldier to choose as their opponent. Those who dared to come here were all extraordinary. If they chose someone too strong, they might even lose their lives. Hua, without a sound, the surrounding space froze. This seemed to be something done simultaneously by many different soldiers. Rumble. Accompanied by a violent rumble, one of the soldiers moved, causing the previously oppressive situation to instantly explode. Immediately, boom, rumble, rumble. The soldiers all exploded and rushed towards their targets. Howl. An ugly beast with huge scaled wings roared and rushed towards Luo Feng. Go-a-dot. A burly soldier was holding a malevolent sledgehammer. The sledgehammer was surrounded by endless thunder and lightning. Luo Feng instantly determined that the sledgehammer was a mechanical treasure. Ooh! A black light swept towards Luo Feng's head. 3 soldiers attacked Luo Feng at the same time. There were actually 3 soldiers that chose him at the same time. Luo Feng couldn't help but laugh. Looks like admitting he was a recruit outside the Awakening Black building had indeed drawn some attention. As the saying goes, the strong are bold. It was because he had absolute power over these elite soldiers that Luo Feng dared to say those words. So, Luo Feng retreated explosively. Rumble. Endless snowflakes immediately appeared all around. It was one of the domain true god treasures he exchanged for earlier, pressuring and enveloping the 3 attacking soldiers. Luo Feng immediately saw the 3 attacking him, especially the most mysterious one. The 3 attacking him, the first was the beast, the second was the tall and sturdy soldier, the third was actually from the Eastern Army, Su Zhong. Su Zhong, Luo Feng roared. You and I are both from the Eastern Army. This is only the first level of the Awakening Black building, and you're already attacking me. You're a recruit. If I don't kill you, who will I kill? Su Zhong roared coldly. Rumble. Su Zhong's surroundings were surrounded by layers of purple light. The purple light shone and clashed with Luo Feng's endless snowflakes. Obviously, this Su Bell also had a domain-type treasure. Ha! Luo Feng couldn't stand such a soldier like Su Zhong. He roared and immediately moved, immediately becoming a blurry blade silhouette, easily dodging the tall and sturdy soldier and heading straight for Su Zhong. This simple sway and leap. This caused the expressions of the 3 soldiers surrounding Luo Feng to change. With this leap, not only did he easily dodge the tall and sturdy soldier, he even left the beast far behind. A weakling might not be able to tell, but they were all elite soldiers. With one look, they could tell how terrifying this Silver River technique was. Not good. Su Zhong roared softly. Hua, his entire body immediately glowed with layers of white light. Very quickly his entire body became a white flying beast. This white flying beast flapped its wings and immediately flew in a straight line, fleeing far away. Mechanical treasure, Qin bird. Luo Feng's expression changed. Qin bird was a mechanical treasure of the Eastern Army, one that was extremely good at escaping. It might be bad at dodging, but it was extremely fast at accelerating in a straight line. To exchange for it, it would require a total of 600,000 merit points. It was even more valuable than Luo Feng's golden claw god, incomparably powerful at escaping. This Su Zhong just saw Luo Feng's simple technique and knew that he had hit a steel plate. In front of this close combat technique, Luo Feng could attack him 10 times, but he would probably only attack Luo Feng once, and he would even be blocked by Luo Feng. So when he saw that the situation wasn't good, he immediately took out the Qin bird and fled. At least you're fast enough. Luo Feng snorted coldly, turned his head, and gave up on Su Zhong. He was clear that with this Qin bird mechanical treasure, killing Su Zhong would be too difficult. In the distance, the Qin bird spread its wings and looked at Luo Feng. Recruit? This is even stronger than the old soldiers. Su Zhong's expression was ugly. Is he lying to me? No, I know all the powerful soldiers of the Mang River Army. Unless it's a recruit. I don't know him. He shouldn't be lying. He's a recruit. A recruit is this powerful? This is troublesome. Even if I avoid the first level, there's still the second and third levels. Su Zhong was filled with regret. How could his eyes be so bad? With just one pick, he picked probably the strongest soldier in his batch. Whoosh! Whoosh! Su Zhong fled quickly. The other two soldiers saw that the situation wasn't good and immediately began to flee one by one. The tall and sturdy soldier wielding the huge thunder hammer flapped his wings, and a pair of black wings actually appeared, howling as he flew. That beast soldier, on the other hand, was slowly fleeing. The slowness here was relative to Su Zhong and the tall and sturdy soldier. Who told you to run so slowly? Luo Feng roared and immediately rushed forward. Rumble. As Luo Feng broke through the air and chased, his entire body began to transform, directly becoming an incomparably barbaric human-shaped beast. His hands and feet all became huge golden claws. Mechanical treasure, golden claw god. Burn. His divine power immediately ignited the first level. The burning divine power immediately pierced through the golden claw god's core and began to transform. The powerful golden claw god emitted an endless amount of energy. No, that ugly scaled-winged beast looked back and was immediately shocked, because the golden claw god's speed was too fast. How can he be so fast? The scaled-winged beast was troubled. Why didn't he exchange his points for a chance to escape? The reason he dared to come here was because he had a mechanical treasure, however it was used to attack. In terms of attack, he wasn't afraid of the other soldiers at all. However, seeing Luo Feng's dodging, he knew that if he continued fighting with Luo Feng, he would definitely lose, hence he fled. However, he couldn't escape. Rumble. The incomparably swift and violent Luo Feng roared as he flew over. High up in the sky, his legs were like two large blades, howling as they slashed. Directly through his legs, he unleashed the light of water and fire blade technique. Even though he only unleashed the first level of annihilation, his technique level was obviously higher than his opponent's. His divine power burning was comparable to his opponent's, and his dodging was even more powerful. No! The scaled beast clashed with Luo Feng and immediately felt the pain. It couldn't escape even if it wanted to. When it attacked Luo Feng, it was easily dodged. Blocking would greatly reduce its power. However, when Luo Feng attacked, it couldn't even block. Hua! The fierce golden claws were like blades, immediately grabbing the scaled beast's head and fiercely smashing it into the endless desert. Hua Hua! His legs were like blades, brutally slashing at the scaled beast again and again. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1403. Luo Feng wore the golden claw god. His overall strength rose greatly, completely suppressing the scaled beast. The scaled beast technique was level 6. As an origin law lord, to be able to create a level 6 technique was already not bad. He also knew a level 1 god energy burning technique. Normally, he could explode with level 7 strength. The most important thing was its mechanic treasure was a claw. Its main strength was its attack. It could explode with 3 levels of attack power, meaning it could explode with level 10 attack power. However, in terms of defense and dodging, it didn't receive any boost. This made it unable to attack Luo Feng, while Luo Feng could easily attack it. And even if it did attack Luo Feng, with Luo Feng's defense and the Golden Claw God's protection, he wouldn't suffer any damage. However, the moment the scaled beast was hit, it would immediately lose a large amount of its body. A one-sided battle. This caused the distant soldiers to feel shocked. At their level, this was the absolute limit of power that a Lord of the Laws could unleash. To break through even higher, every little bit was extremely difficult. Hence, when they truly clashed, the difference between them wouldn't be that obvious. However, that soldier he's too strong. Soldier Inhe's movement technique is too terrifying. Although his mechanical treasures aren't very strong, they all have auxiliary enhancements. Once you get attacked by him, you'll be trampled on. His claw techniques are extremely powerful too. The Golden Claw God's attack isn't strong. However, he relies on his claw techniques to make his attacks so strong. In the distance, the soldiers who were fighting all noticed this. They understood clearly that since the first floor of the Tower of Awakening Crow wanted them to kill each other, and the final objective was to ascend to the top, then in the following floors they had no choice but to kill each other, or perhaps it was entirely possible that they would take the initiative to kill each other due to some benefits. Naturally, they had to take this chance to see the strength of the other soldiers. The other soldiers, however, immediately made their decision. Soldier we can't mess with him. Stay as far away as we can. If I knew he was this strong, I wouldn't have fought him. The soldier Su Zhong was unwilling. I purposely befriended him. In the following levels of danger, with such a friend to help me, it'll be much better. Luo Feng's right golden claw, slightly curled, slightly bent, especially those 5 claws that were curved like scimitars. That claw, it slashed across the back of the scaled beast, causing it to roll on the ground. Then came the crazy claw. The dazzling golden claw shadows were like surging waves, continuously slashing across the scaled beast's divine body, causing it to continuously weaken. At this moment, the scaled beast had lost a portion of its divine body and was only left with about 20% of its strength. Naturally, it was being ravaged. Spare my life. That scaled beast was anxious, begging for help. Luo Feng didn't care at all. I'm willing to offer up all my treasures. The scaled beast was extremely anxious. He really didn't want to die. After killing you, your treasures will be mine. Luo Feng communicated coldly. Also, since you've chosen to enter the Awakened Crows building, you have to be prepared to die. Right now, your strength has been greatly reduced. Even if I spared you on the first level, what about the second, third, and fourth levels? You think you can survive? And if I don't kill the other soldiers, I won't be able to enter the second floor. If I can't enter the second floor, I'll be annihilated by Wu Qi Lu. I don't want to die. Even if we leave you alive, you won't be able to kill the other soldiers. So, no matter what, you must die. The scaled beast understood. However, as it felt death approaching, it was unwilling and panicked. Naturally, it wanted to live a little longer. As for the following danger, naturally, it would take it one step at a time. I still want your life to go to the second level. Luo Feng's voice was cold, without any fluctuations. Earlier, the scaled beast had taken the initiative to attack him. If he was weaker, he would have been killed. No, the scaled beast was furious and unwilling. However, no matter how furious it was, it could only watch as it grew weaker and weaker until it was annihilated. There was nothing else it could do, because even if it self-destructed, the force of the explosion wouldn't reach level 10. Following the violent attack that was like a stormy sea, the scaled beast was annihilated. There are quite a few treasures left behind. Luo Feng waved his hand and collected the large amounts of treasures left behind in the desert. Amongst them was a black claw. This was also the mechanical treasure the scaled beast had before. Gene World. It has a complete ancient civilization. Especially in mechanical treasures, it's extremely proficient. Luo Feng exclaimed within. Even a universe lord, with his god energy burning techniques and mechanical treasures, can reach level 10. In the universe C, that's the strength of the ancestor. This was actually very normal. Mechanical treasures, at the origin law lord level, already had the power to fight beyond levels. Luo Feng collected the large amounts of treasures. He understood the reason he killed the scaled beast earlier was because he had the absolute advantage in terms of movement and dodging. And this advantage of his, even against true gods, he had the absolute advantage. This point was already proven in the Nine Smoke Swamp. Killing an elite soldier is more profitable than killing 10 true gods. Luo Feng's gaze swept his surroundings. On the ice-cold desert, the cold wind continued to blow, and in the distant areas, there were battles and killings taking place. Those soldiers would occasionally glance over at Luo Feng. They're all quite far away from me. Luo Feng couldn't help but shake his head. He wanted to, if he had the chance, he would kill 1 or 2 more soldiers and get more treasures. After all, his family was huge. Whether it was the entire human race, his own Earth bloodline, or even the Luo family, they all needed treasures. However, from the looks of it now, these soldiers obviously treated him as a huge threat. The moment he made a move, they would flee. Forget it, I'll go to the next level, Luo Feng thought. According to the rules, normally only 10% of those who can leave the Awakening House alive. Only 50% of those on the first level die. As they kill, the victor gets the treasures too. In the future, when I kill the victor, I'll naturally get more. Luo Feng gazed at the 4 large battles. Without hesitation, he became a beam of light and flew towards the distant huge green pillar. Rumble. When Luo Feng flew towards the green pillar, it didn't stop him at all, allowing him to enter. Rumble. Under the guidance of the green pillar, Luo Feng immediately became a beam of gold light. His speed was incomparably fast, and he rushed into the sky, instantly disappearing from the top of the green pillar. He's entered the 2nd level. Phew, this terrifying punk, he's finally entered the 2nd level. That's good. The soldiers all let out a sigh of relief. If Luo Feng was always glaring at them, even if they were to kill each other, they would still feel uneasy, because they could clearly feel they weren't on the same level as Luo Feng. We are all the most elite of the special armies of the 4 armies. In theory, those stronger than us shouldn't be much stronger. How can this soldierine he be so much stronger than us? Especially his close combat techniques. How can they be so terrifying? Even a true god wouldn't have such terrifying techniques. The moment Luo Feng left, the remaining 8 quickly regained their focus and started fighting. However, they were different from Luo Feng. Luo Feng's killing speed was extremely fast. However, as the gap between them wasn't huge, their killing speed was much slower. Luo Feng only felt space and time warp. A blurry light flashed, and he appeared in a new place from the green pillar. Luo Feng surveyed his surroundings. This was a vast, dark red land. There were cracks all over the dark red land, and there was a scarlet liquid under the cracks. Streams of hot air shot up into the sky from the cracks, and the entire sky was covered in dark clouds. Thick, dark clouds covered most of the sky. 5 soldiers? Luo Feng glanced at the distance. In the distance, there were 5 soldiers scattered. These 5 soldiers were very far from each other. Obviously, they were on high alert. The previous batch? Luo Feng's heart skipped a beat. The later batch, there are actually soldiers here too. Amongst the 5 soldiers in the distance, one of them looked like a youth. His features were handsome, and he was dressed in dark red armor. He smiled as he spoke. The surroundings were dark red land, and he was dressed in dark red armor. His aura was incomparably harmonious with the world around him. What? "You've been waiting for the next batch?" Luo Feng asked. "I've been waiting for the 5 to arrive together." The dark red, armored youth smiled. His eyes flashed with a ferocious aura. "Wu Qi's building told us that there would be 10 soldiers in a batch. Our batch only has 5 left after the first level. Naturally, we'll have to wait for the next batch." Luo Feng nodded. Before him, there were indeed 3 batches that entered. 3 batches meant 30 soldiers. There should be at least 15 that survived. Unless there were special circumstances, there wouldn't be less than 15. Obviously, the first 3 batches did indeed have 15 survivors. This second level of the Wu Qi's building, how will it train us? Luo Feng asked. "No idea. We don't know either." A few of the soldiers spoke. "You're the first to arrive. Looks like you're the strongest in your batch." "My luck is good," Luo Feng said casually. "What about the other soldiers in your batch?" The dark red armored youth asked Luo Feng. "They'll arrive in a while." Luo Feng smiled. "They would arrive in a while. However, this one was too long. After about half an hour, only then did the soldiers arrive. The other 4 arrived at about the same time. So, the moment the bell appeared, the chinchilla immediately flapped its wings and dodged far away. After which, it looked around cautiously, its gaze locked onto the distant Luo Feng. These 4 soldiers all stayed far away from Luo Feng. And when the dark red armored youth and the other 4 soldiers saw this, as long as they weren't idiots, they would naturally be able to tell that the other 4 soldiers in the new batch were extremely cautious and fearful of the first soldier that arrived. He actually made so many elite soldiers fear him. We have to be careful of him. The 5 soldiers from the previous batch were all shocked within. At this time, rumble, 10 beams of light descended from the sky and immediately enveloped the 10 soldiers. Pitiful. Even the recommendation votes were surpassed. Both the monthly and recommendation votes were second. Woo, the monthly votes were only obtained through spending. However, the recommendation votes were given to everyone every day. Please support me. ***, to be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1404. 10 beams of light filled the skies and were extremely fast. Luo Feng and the others didn't even have time to dodge before they were completely enveloped. This is the second level of the Wu Qi building. You will all be teleported to a small world and be attacked. What you need to do is survive and endure all the attacks in the world. You 2 batches of soldiers, the first batch has rested for a long time and their bodies have recovered quite a bit. The second batch of soldiers quickly recover. The 2 batches of soldiers will be transported one after the other. Those who hide within the battleships will be destroyed. A majestic voice resounded within the minds of Luo Feng and the others. Following closely, the space of the crimson-armored young man and the other 4 soldiers instantly trembled, and the 5 soldiers were instantly teleported to a distant place in this dark red scorching land. At a glance, the 5 soldiers were separated, and each soldier had fallen into a small world that was over 100 million kilometers in size. Hurry and recover. Quickly, try your best to recover. Luo Feng and the others watched calmly from the side. Su Zhong and the others immediately used their treasures to quickly recover their bodies. Treasures that could recover one's divine body also needed time to take effect. Like before when they had just finished killing in the first level and were immediately teleported here. Even if they wanted to stay there, they couldn't do so. Luckily, Wu Qi Building's plan was perfect. He gave them time to use the treasures within their bodies to gradually recover. The red-armored youth surveyed his surroundings. This was a small world with a diameter of over 100 million kilometer rumble. In the sky appeared a huge ancient engraving picture with a diameter of over 100 million kilometer. Many colorful engravings merged together to form this ancient engraving picture. It obviously enveloped the entire land below. Following which, with a rumble, the ancient engraving picture suddenly shot beams of light downwards. Pung, pung, pung. A series of beams of light shot downwards and pierced through. The crimson-armored young man wielded a silver scimitar. With a clang, he blocked a beam of light that was aimed at him. The impact of the light instantly sent the crimson-armored young man flying backward, tumbling in the air. Because that ancient engraving picture covered the land and skies with countless beams of light. Hence, as he flew backwards, there were beams of light that shot at him. Too strong. Any ray of light attack is comparable to the attack of a real god. We have to rely on mechanical treasures. The crimson-armored youth was so frightened that rings began to appear on his legs. The silver patterns wrapped around his legs and quickly spread to his entire body. Immediately, the crimson-armored youth's speed increased, and he blocked the incoming beams of light so that he wouldn't be sent flying. 5 small worlds, 5 soldiers. Every soldier was being ravaged by the small world. It doesn't look too dangerous. It's much better than the first floor. The first floor is a fratricide, and at least half of them will die. This level is a battle against a small world. I reckon that many will survive. Luo Feng and the other 4 soldiers watched. Luo Feng didn't make a sound. The other soldiers were quietly discussing, occasionally glancing at Luo Feng. Luo Feng looked at the distant 5 small worlds. Indeed, the 5 small worlds all had ancient, mysterious pattern diagrams bombarding the ground below, but the degree of threat they posed was only comparable to that of an ordinary true god. If he used a mechanical-type treasure, the 5 soldiers would be able to withstand it. Don't tell me the first level had too many deaths, and the second level is easier, Luo Feng thought. Very quickly, Luo Feng knew he was wrong. Just when the 5 sergeants in the 5 small worlds had relaxed quite a bit. Even though it's a little troublesome, it shouldn't be hard to get through. As the 5 soldiers were resisting, suddenly the ground began to tremble. Rumble. The ground of the 5 small worlds were trembling. The ground that was originally covered in large amounts of cracks, especially the burning red liquid beneath the cracks, began to gush out, gushing straight to the surface. This hot liquid caused the 5 soldiers to fly up, not daring to land. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The scarlet, scorching liquid quickly gathered together, constantly converging. After a while, they gathered into a towering crimson giant, following which the red giant's body began to solidify. From the liquid giant before, it became a dark red stone giant. And the surface of the stone giant's body still had threads of hot liquid flowing about. Howl! The 5 dark red stone giants raised their heads and roared at the same time. Scarlet liquid continued to gush out of the cracks on the ground, connecting the bodies of the dark red stone giants. Rumble! The skies of the 5 small worlds were constantly bombarding downwards. Many beams of light struck the dark red stone giant's body, only causing a portion of the stone giant's body to fall off. However, those that fell quickly became red liquid and condensed back into the giant's body, completely unharmed. Along with the sky, shaking roars. The 5 dark red stone giants simultaneously rushed at the 5 soldiers. These dark red stone giants, either stomping with their huge feet or swinging with their stone fists. Just from the first clash, the 5 soldiers were all sent flying. Not good. Too vicious. This time they're in trouble. In the distance, Luo Feng and the other 4 who were resting and recovering their divine bodies were all shocked. With one look, they could tell that the 5 soldiers in their respective worlds were facing a dangerous situation. Just from the first clash, they could tell the dark red stone giants definitely had the strength of a true god. Even though these stone giants didn't have armor or anything like that, with the endless red liquid replenishing them, plus they could recover even if they were injured, they were definitely undying. If it was just the stone giants, it would be fine. One had to know that the ancient engravings' light covered the skies and land. Before, when they were alone, they could still try their best to dodge. Occasionally, when they couldn't dodge, they would try to block a few times. However, now that they were constantly being attacked by the dark red stone giants, the 5 soldiers couldn't even try their best to dodge the light, causing them to be bombarded at every moment. Bang! 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 They were continuously bombarded by the light. The 5 soldiers were in a sorry state. If they tried their best to dodge the light, they would easily be blasted away by the stone giants. Endless light descended. The stone giants were roaring. The 5 soldiers were in a sorry state. Their god energy was being madly consumed. The 5 soldiers who were safe and could watch from the side, their expressions were all serious. The previous batch of 5 soldiers were in a sorry state in the small worlds, with danger lurking everywhere. It wasn't that they were weak, it was just that the small worlds were indeed very dangerous. What do? I'm afraid we'll be facing similar dangers. Countless lights descended from the sky, and we still have to deal with the stone giants. How do we fight? If we dodge the lights, we won't be able to block the stone giants. If we block the stone giants, we'll be bombarded by the lights. If this goes on, our god energy will be depleted too quickly. We won't be able to last till the end. The soldiers were all panicking. The other 4 were panicking. Luo Feng was still considered calm. Only his expression was serious. Just this bit of danger doesn't mean much to me. However, the light from the ancient engravings and the appearance of the stone giants. After these 2 dangers, will there be a 3rd danger? Or even a 4th danger? The ancient engravings and the stone giants. Luo Feng didn't care about these 2 dangers. He was only afraid of more dangers appearing one by one. No matter how strong Luo Feng was, he would still be crushed. Of the elite soldiers that enter the Awakened Crow building, only 1 out of 10 will survive. Since 1 can survive, then I can too. Luo Feng nodded, continuing to watch intently. The Awakened Crow building was the tallest structure in the Godly King Valley. Not far from the Awakened Crow building, there was a 3-story silver, gray ancient palace. This palace had a group of true god guards. This was also the highest authority in the Godly King Valley. The 3rd level of the silver gray palace. In the incomparably vast hall, there were 4 incomparably huge thrones. On the leftmost throne was a huge mass of black fog. The black fog fluctuated, and the entire black fog covered most of the huge throne. One could only faintly see the legs of the throne. The black fog was constantly emitting an evil aura. The other 3 thrones were empty. Not a single silhouette. A light screen appeared in mid-air in the middle of the palace. On it was the scene of the 2nd level of the Awakened Crow building. The 5 soldiers were in 5 different small worlds. They were in a sorry state. Trash. A sigh resounded from within the black mist. Truly trash. This batch of soldiers is still trash. If this goes on, I really don't know when the absolute being that the Godly King is looking for will appear. It was one of the 4 great commanders of the Godly King Valley. Although he was only a void real god, he had been personally conferred the title by His Majesty the King God and became a titled expert. Although it was also a void real god like the Master of the Northern Pure Sea, it could easily annihilate the Master of the Northern Pure Sea. Too weak. Too weak. So weak on the 2nd level of the Awakened Crow building. Generations of elite soldiers have performed better than them, but none of them succeeded. As for them, there is no hope. The spreading black mist sighed. The Gene world was the world of the Godly King, and the Godly King Valley was where the Godly King lived. Actually, there was no danger at all. There was no need to arrange any guards. But it was arranged here because of the trust the Godly King had in it. The task of guarding here was fake. The real task was to find the absolute being that could reach the 9th level of the Awakened Crow building. It's been too long. The only task His Majesty has given us. We haven't done it yet. If anyone can reach the top of the Awakened Crow building, even if I have to die right now, I will be willing. The old voice in the black mist was filled with guilt towards the Godly King. Is the competition in the Gene world not enough? Does it have to be even more cruel? The old voice in the black mist murmured. On the light screen in the middle of the palace, the other 5 soldiers were also teleported to their own small worlds. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1405. Within the vast world of the 2nd level of the Awakened Crow building, the dark red ground emitted waves of heat that rushed into the sky. Even the neutron stars of the cosmic sea would be instantly burnt to nothing if they were here. 5 regions, 5 small worlds. How Howl, howl, howl. The 5 dark red rock giants were incomparably tyrannical. They charged and charged about, beating the 5 soldiers into a sorry state. In the distance, Luo Feng and the other 4 soldiers watched quietly. The other 4 soldiers' eyes were filled with worry. The rock giants can't be killed at all. We have to stall for time. The other 4 soldiers were thinking of a way to deal with them. They had just experienced the first-level slaughter. They didn't rest as long as the first 5 soldiers. Hence they rested for a while and could see the dangers of the second level earlier. This was also a form of compensation. After the first batch of 5 soldiers fought hard for about half an hour. Bang, 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 bang. Luo Feng and the other 4 soldiers were swiftly transported through the space around them. Luo Feng felt the space around him warp, almost like entering a wormhole. By the time the space around him stabilized, he had already entered a small world. The teleportation only gives us such a short time to rest. However, it also lets us know the danger beforehand. It's still fair. Luo Feng looked up at the sky. A huge, ancient engraving appeared in the dark clouds above. The engraving was incomparably resplendent and mysterious. It enveloped this small world, pung, 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 pung. The ancient engraving was like a huge battleship with countless gun barrels. It madly shot countless beams of light downwards. Every beam of light was comparable to a true god's attack. Luckily, this was only a training test. Hence, the beams of light were scattered across the entire region. If they were gathered together, the combined attack of 1 trillion beams of light would be something even an eternal true god wouldn't dare take head-on. One could see the awakened crow building left behind by the god emperor was extraordinary. Luo Feng looked up at the sky. The stone-like blade on his back, the blood shadow blade, was unsheathed. Dang! The blood shadow blade blocked the attack of a beam of light. Luo Feng couldn't help but retreat 6 steps, leaving 6 footprints on the ground. After a while, I blocked 9 streams of light in a row. They're different colors, but their power is the same. Luo Feng had an accurate judgment within, after which he looked at the ancient engravings in the sky, laughing, after which he gazed down at the land. Rock giant, hurry and appear. Otherwise, I would have to expend a lot of divine power to deal with this ancient pattern diagram. Golden Claw God. Luo Feng's thoughts moved. Boom! Luo Feng's body immediately changed. As a mechanical treasure, the Golden Claw God's color could change at will. Luo Feng immediately became a black humanoid monster, burning his god energy to activate the Golden Claw God. Immediately, Luo Feng's speed, defense, resistance, and attack all rose by 2 levels. Luo Feng didn't even want to unleash annihilation. The moment he did, it would consume too much god energy. In order to deal with this level of crisis, his current strength was more than enough. Rumble, the ground shook. Luo Feng immediately rose into the air and looked down. In the depths of the huge fissures on the ground, the red-hot liquid was constantly gushing out. A large amount of the red-hot liquid quickly gathered and condensed into a huge liquid monster. Following that, the red-hot liquid quickly condensed into a dark red stone giant, and the red liquid from the ground continued to gush out, constantly replenishing the rock giant. Howl! The dark red rock giant roared and rushed straight at Luo Feng. Good! Luo Feng revealed a smile. Stomping fiercely, he left a huge claw mark on the ground. The Golden Claw God, Luo Feng, rushed straight at the dark red rock giant. In terms of size, the Golden Claw God, Luo Feng, maintained a height of 100,000 kilometers. This was his strongest form, and the dark red rock giant was close to 200,000 kilometers. The Golden Claw God, Luo Feng, could only reach the waist of the rock giant. Rumble! The dark red rock giant roared, following which a mountain-like huge fist appeared before the Golden Claw God, Luo Feng, in an instant. Shwa! Luo Feng's silhouette became blurry, almost as though he was about to dodge. The dark red rock giant's fist followed closely, chasing after Luo Feng. This fist seemed to cover the skies and land, not letting Luo Feng escape. His Majesty, the God Emperor, built the Awakened Crow building. Even a random puppet formed from energy has such exquisite fist techniques. Exclaiming within, the golden claw god Luo Feng was like a huge blade silhouette, instantly changing directions 3 times. Changing directions 3 times, it seemed very little. However, when one's movement reached the pinnacle, it wasn't the more the better. It was just changing directions once to cause the opponent's attack to miss. That was powerful. When Luo Feng was in the 9-smoke swamp, he easily dodged a true god's attack. However, against this dark red rock giant, he had to change directions 3 times before dodging the punch. Why? While dodging, the golden claw god Luo Feng's claws purposely clashed with the rock giant's arm, causing the rock giant to waver. The golden claw god Luo Feng took the chance to hide beside the rock giant. Rumble! The ancient engravings above rained down countless beams of light, many of them hitting the rock giant. However, none of them hit Luo Feng. Howl! The rock giant turned to attack Luo Feng. Once I get close to you, be at ease and be my shield. The golden claw god Luo Feng was like a ghost. Every movement was like a straight line, able to change directions multiple times as fast as lightning, causing the dark red rock giant to go round and round. The dark red rock giant roared, either fiercely turning or punching in all directions. Even his fists became red liquid and enveloped Luo Feng. Anyway, he had many methods. However, the golden claw god Luo Feng continued to tangle with the rock titan, circling around it, using it as a shield. None of the beams that descended from above hit the golden claw god Luo Feng. The golden claw god Luo Feng would rather occasionally exchange blows with the rock giant than get hit by the beams. To me, the rock giant is not only not a problem, it's actually a huge help. With it here, it's like a huge shield. Using this shield, I can easily dodge all the beams of light. Luo Feng displayed his terrifying movement, dodging when he could, borrowing strength when he could, only blocking when he couldn't. Luo Feng definitely wouldn't clash head-on with a rock giant, because Luo Feng understood, even if he did, the rock giant's injuries would swiftly heal. It was completely undying. Clashing head-on would only consume his god energy faster. And right now, he wasn't using annihilation. Dodging was his main focus. Even the beams of light that rained down from above had shielded the rock giant. Luo Feng's god energy consumption was extremely slow. God King Valley, 3rd level of the Silver Gray Palace beside the Awakened Crow building. Within the palace, the floating screen displayed the battle scenes of the 10 small worlds. The scenes of the 10 soldiers were all very clear. Of the 4 thrones in the palace, the leftmost throne was shrouded in a huge black mist. It suddenly began to tremble. Movement. A voice resounded from within the mist. Hua. Originally, there were 10 miniature world scenes on the light screen, but in an instant, the other 9 miniature world scenes instantly shrank, while one miniature world scene rapidly expanded, occupying 90% of the entire screen. Within that scene, the one battling the dark red rock giant was Luo Feng. This movement, the Black Mist leader seemed to be completely shocked. As one of the 4 leaders of the God King Valley, it had been selected by the Awakened Crow building over the generations. It had seen countless elite soldiers. But this was the first person to display such a terrifying movement technique since it was discovered. Even though it was only his movement that was heavenly, it didn't mean his other aspects were heavenly as well. However, to be able to reach such a level of movement, it meant that even if this soldier was weaker in other aspects, he still far surpassed many elite soldiers. Such a soldier, why didn't the 4 generals tell me about him? Such a soldier is definitely the most important seed His Majesty needs. The name list he gave me actually didn't include this soldier. The Black Mist leader let out furious roars. His goal in the God King Valley for countless years was to find the absolute warrior His Majesty needed. Soldier Inhi? Mang River Army? Oh, so he just joined the army. No wonder the 4 generals didn't tell me. He just joined the army, and he's already doing a title mission. Looks like he has absolute confidence. Ain't he? Ain't he? The Black Mist leader's voice was filled with joy. You three punks, stop sleeping. Come quickly. Come quickly. His voice rumbled, piercing through the entire Silver Palace and entering deep into the ground. There, the other three leaders were in deep sleep. The God King Valley leaders didn't have anything else to do, hence the four of them. Each had a leader in charge of the God King Valley, and also the entire God King world. Only when there were special matters would they summon the other three. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Three powerful energies rose up, causing the true God Guards within the God King Valley to be shocked. On the third floor of the Silver Gray Palace, there were 4 thrones. Aside from the one on the left that was shrouded in black mist, a beautiful woman dressed in silver armor appeared on the second throne from the left. Her eyes seemed to be the source of all light. When she looked at them, it was as if they were bathed in the warmest light, and they could not help but fall into a world of light. Beside her sat a tall and burly blood-red armored commander. This blood-red armored commander wore a helmet on his head, on which there were 9 silver horns that looked like scimitars, emitting an endless domineering aura. On the far right was a pitch-black scaled exotic beast. This scaled exotic beast had 2 faces, and each face only had a single eye. At this moment, one of its eyes was open, but the other eye behind its head was closed. The only eye that was open was pitch black. As though it could devour everything, it emitted an endless and intense aura of slaughter. You three, look at the soldier riding the golden claw god. A voice came from the black mist. This was the second watch of the day. There was still the third watch. Asterisk, to be continued. If you like this work, please come Achidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1406. The other 3 commanders, who had just woken up from their long slumber, looked at the floating screen of light. They were also filled with anticipation. After all, when His Majesty the God King left, he had given them an order to find a peerless figure who could ascend to the top of the Awakening Crows building. They had waited far too long. This soldier, he's riding on a golden claw god. Looking at its speed, this soldier probably hasn't used any god energy burning techniques. The 3 leaders made their judgments and inspected Luo Feng on the screen. As for the other 9 soldiers, they just glanced at them and dismissed them. In their long years on duty, they had seen countless elite soldiers. Without a certain standard, they naturally wouldn't be attracted. Watching carefully, time passed second by second. The 3 leaders were all silent. What a profound technique. One of the 4 commanders, the muscular commander dressed in blood-red armor, sighed in amazement. So many exquisite movements. Truly, he's just a master of the laws, and yet he was able to create a movement technique on this level. And he's so skilled at it. He's just toying with the rock giant. What he didn't know was that Luo Feng, in order to train his movements, had fought against many strong warriors in the training space. Even the 3rd-generation ancestor, who had the same level of divine energy foundation many times. After being tempered under that kind of pressure, it was naturally very easy to fight against the stupid rock giants. Even the eternal true gods of the Gene world didn't have the right to have the 3rd-generation ancestor as their sparring partner. Even for me, I'm a little touched. The tall and sturdy leader exclaimed, "You're an eternal true god. Even an eternal true god like you is touched." The other 3 leaders said. Back then, when His Majesty the Divine King left, the 4 great commanders were all void real gods who had been conferred titles. And after so many years, one of them broke through to become an eternal true god. However, according to the godly king's orders, the 4 leaders had their duties and couldn't leave the Gene world. Just like the 4 generals, even though they were eternal true gods, they too couldn't leave the Gene world. After the godly king left, a few eternal true gods were born. They left the Gene world one by one and never returned. The 4 leaders were all impressed by Luo Feng's technique. If a void true god used it, they wouldn't care at all. But this was a law master. The comprehension foundation of a master of laws and a void real god was as different as heaven and earth. They had never seen a master of laws being able to achieve such a feat. At the very least, he is the one with the strongest movement technique we have ever seen since we started guarding the Valley of the God Kings. His movement technique is the strongest. The others aren't that bad either. The four commanders spoke one after another. The burly commander said expectantly, "Perhaps he has hope of ascending the Tower of Awakening Crow." Immediately, the other three commanders quietened down. The entire hall was enveloped in an atmosphere of impending storm. All of them stared at the screen, watching. Fulfilling His Majesty the Divine King's expectations was more important than making a breakthrough to become an eternal real God, or even their lives. On the second floor of the Wuchi Tower, on the vast dark red land, within the 10 small worlds, the first 5 sergeants looked helter-skelter as they had consumed a lot of energy. Although the last 5 soldiers were also in a sorry state, they had been fighting for a short time, so they were in a much better state. Especially Luo Feng. He was the most relaxed. From the time he was transported to the small world till now, his god body hadn't been exhausted at all. After all, he hadn't even unleashed the first level of annihilation. He was completely relying on the Golden Claw God to raise his strength by 2 levels, which was enough for him to battle with a true god. The first 5 sergeants have consumed a lot of energy. Even though they are all still alive, if this goes on, it won't be long before they start falling. The Golden Claw God, Luo Feng, swept his gaze across the distant 9 small worlds. Probably only he, in such a tense situation, dared to pay attention to his surroundings. Ayo! 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 5 furious howls suddenly resounded. It was the world of the first 5 sergeants. The 5 dark red stone giants were all howling. Their howls were mournful and crazy. The howls were completely different from the stone giants' howls from before. Not only were the sounds peculiar, they even had soul attacks. Even the sergeants from the other small worlds felt their hearts tremble. Luo Feng and the other 5 couldn't help but look into the distance. Following the howls, the first 5 sergeants were filled with fear and unease, feeling danger approaching. Wah! 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 Out of the blue, not far from the crevices in the ground around the stone giants, a huge stone hand suddenly surged out. That stone hand was surrounded by a boiling hot liquid. A total of 4 huge stone hands. Every one of them was over 1,000,000 km wide, and the ones that extended out had thick, long arms. Without any warning, they suddenly appeared and grabbed at the elite sergeants. Amongst the first 5 sergeants, an elite sergeant with a tattoo on his face tried to dodge. However, half of his body was grabbed by the stone hand. The stone hand gripped the soldier tightly. The ancient engravings in mid-air suddenly began to descend. As it descended, the ancient engravings poured down with large amounts of light, giving the sergeants even less time to dodge. Howl! The dark red stone giant roared too, punching the sergeants. Pong! That sergeant was in incomparable pain. Pong! 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 The stone hand grabbed, and the stone giant madly smashed, draining the sergeant's god energy. Open! 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 That sergeant struggled with great difficulty, even using his god energy to control his hammer. Finally, before the stone giant punched again, he managed to create a gap in the stone hand, allowing him to escape. However, just for being grabbed for a short while his god body had already suffered great damage. Within the crevices in the ground, without any warning, a huge stone hand would appear. In an instant, the first 5 sergeants were all on the verge of collapse. If before they were just in a sorry state, then now they were truly in a life and death crisis. One-sided, under the stone hand, dark red stone giant, and the ancient engravings constantly descending, their reaction time decreased. Under the 3 heavy attacks, the 5 elite sergeants with mechanical treasures were all on the verge of collapse. Not good. We're in big trouble. The first 5 of them met it first. It won't be long before we too meet this danger. The other 4 soldiers in Luo Feng's group were all panicking. The Golden Claw God, Luo Feng, pondered, Obviously, at the same time, there are only 4 stone hands appearing, and they're all around the dark red stone giant. And the engravings above are descending too. Luo Feng realized the situation was very dangerous. The 4 stone hands themselves weren't much of a threat. However, the moment they were grabbed and bound, they would be ravaged by the stone giant. Fortunately, there were only 4 of them. What do I do? Without any warning, the 4 stone hands appeared without any warning. They all appeared so suddenly. How do I deal with them? Luo Feng was anxious. If the ancient engravings hadn't descended, then he could have flown higher, allowing the stone hands to emerge from the ground, giving him enough time to react and dodge. However, the ancient engravings in the sky were descending. The distance was shrinking. The time to dodge the light was getting shorter and shorter. To fly higher again, that was even more taxing. Hopeless situation. Luo Feng shook his head. There will definitely be sergeants falling. It was indeed hopeless. As the ancient engravings continued to descend, the situation of the 5 sergeants ahead was getting more and more difficult. Countless lights covered the sky and land, madly rushing downwards. The engravings continued to descend, causing the lights to last longer and shorter, causing the sergeants to be hit more and more. Every one of these lights was comparable to a true god's attack. Huge hands, stone giant, engravings. The space was constantly being squeezed. Dodging the stone hands was getting harder and harder. The 5 sergeants ahead were burning their god energy, howling, using all their strength to unleash their techniques that they were proud of. Either attack or flee, thinking of all sorts of ways to make themselves last longer. No. A flying 12-winged exotic beast was directly grabbed by a stone hand that suddenly emerged. Immediately after, the dark red stone giant followed up and smashed the 12-winged exotic beast with its 2 big fists again and again. Accompanied by a wail, the 12-winged exotic beast directly dissipated and turned into nothingness, leaving only some armor and treasures behind. The dark red stone giant immediately raised his head and roared, extremely excited. Following closely Hua, the stone giant, the stone hand, everything became a red liquid, flowing into the crevice in the ground. Even the armor of the beast soldier that had fallen earlier was swept into the crevice. And that small world, too, immediately dissipated. The entire second level, only 9 small worlds were left. The other 4 soldiers from the first batch were struggling in pain. It's still not over. The second level's training should be over by now. My strength has dropped by more than half. If it doesn't end soon, I won't be able to hold on. The other 4 sergeants were extremely anxious. To the overlords, losing a part of their god body, their strength would drop drastically. Hence, during battle, at the start of their peak, their god energy consumption was the slowest. However, towards the end, the weaker they got, the faster their god energy consumption. The more they used, the weaker they got, entering a vicious cycle. Hence, they were all anxious. Luo Feng's group of 5 soldiers were also feeling uneasy. We have to conserve our god energy. Otherwise, we won't survive past the second level. Just as they were feeling uneasy, that familiar voice, Ayo, 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 Ayo. 5 mad and shrill sounds resounded. These sounds pierced straight into their souls, causing the sergeants to tremble. How can they be so fast? We started much later than them. Luo Feng and the other 4 soldiers in his group were getting anxious. They were sent to the small world half an hour later than the previous batch. However, the nightmare descended. They were only 10 minutes later than the previous batch. Rumble. Luo Feng soared into the sky. Simultaneously looking up, the ancient engravings were rumbling and descending. The dark red stone giant too flew up. He was naturally following Luo Feng, wanting to kill him. Hua, 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 hua. 4 large stone hands. Just the palm width alone was over 1,000,000 km. The arms were even longer, directly extending and grabbing at Luo Feng. However, Luo Feng had flown high into the sky earlier with a buffer. With his movement, he could easily dodge the hands. In the ancient hall, the 4 commanders of the Divine King Valley, 1 eternal real god and 3 void real gods, who had been conferred titles, were watching the light screen with great anticipation. They were watching Luo Feng's performance in the second level of the Wuqi building. 3 chapters completed. Preview, tomorrow 5 chapters. Seeking monthly votes, recommendation votes, to motivate. To be continued. If you like this work, please come come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1407. On the screen, the golden claw god Luo Feng was able to dodge the stone hand in midair. He was still able to toy with the dark red stone giant. Even at the start, he was able to prevent the countless beams of light from touching him. However, as the ancient engravings continued to descend, the distance was getting shorter. This made it harder for Luo Feng. Occasionally, he would be touched. Annihilation, God Energy Ignition, first level. Luo Feng finally couldn't take it anymore. Ha! This soldier, he has finally unleashed his God Energy Ignition technique. He's really patient, waiting until now before unleashing it. As a special army soldier, one of the basic inheritances has a level 1 God Energy Ignition technique. He should know it. The 4 leaders looked at the screen and laughed. The moment he unleashed his God Energy, Luo Feng's attack, defense, speed, and dodging, etc., immediately rose by a level. He was struggling before, but in an instant he became relaxed. In mid-air, simultaneously dealing with the stone hands, dark red stone giant, and countless beams of light. Effortlessly, after a few more minutes, the ancient engravings descended lower and lower, even forcing Luo Feng to fly, forcing him to descend. He couldn't stick to the ancient engravings. The moment he did, he wouldn't be able to dodge the beams of light. This soldier, the second level, doesn't pose a threat to him. Even though the second level's final moments will make him suffer, his god body hasn't been consumed at all. It doesn't affect him at all. The leaders said so. Second level of the Awakened Wu building within the 9 little worlds. It's still not over? The dark red armored youth was fleeing. The ancient engravings had already descended to a mere 1 million kilometers from the ground. Such a low altitude made it impossible to fly too high. The moment the stone hands emerged from the cracks in the ground, they could easily envelop the armored youth. Pung, pung, pung. At such a close distance, the beams of light bombarded him. The armored youth didn't care at all, because at this point, there was no way to dodge. He focused on what was below. Wah! The moment the stone hands appeared, the armored youth immediately dodged. No! The armored youth tried his best to evade, but he discovered that his speed was not fast enough. The million-kilometer-wide palm had only partially emerged from the cracks on the ground before grabbing him. I've lost too much of my divine body, and my strength has dropped too much. Even if I use all my strength to dodge, I won't be able to. The armored youth's heart was filled with sorrow. At the same time, he tried his best to control his weapon to attack the stone hand from the inside. Roar! The dark red stone giant instantly charged forward, slapping the armored youth repeatedly. In the blink of an eye, he was slapped more than 20 times. Whoosh! Xiao Chun finally managed to escape from the giant stone hand. He flew away, but there were streaks of light coming at him from the sky. I can't take it anymore. The armored youth felt his divine body weakening faster and faster. Pung! A huge rock hand had just emerged from the crack in the ground. Before it could grab the armored youth was bombarded and annihilated by the stream of light. Only some battle armor, mechanical treasures, and other things fell to the ground. Another soldier had fallen, about half a minute after the armored youth fell. Boom! 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 The small worlds of the 3 surviving soldiers instantly dissipated. The stone giant also turned into a crimson liquid and flowed into the crack in the ground. Everything dissipated. The 3 surviving soldiers were extremely astonished. I'm still alive. I'm still alive. I've lost all hope. It's over. It's finally over. Just a moment more, and I'll be finished. It's over. The 3 surviving soldiers cried and laughed at the same time. They had truly endured all kinds of torture. They had endured with great difficulty. In the end, The strongest of the three was not even a tenth of their original strength. The weakest was not even a thousandth of their original strength. Just a moment more, and they would have fallen. They survived with great difficulty. These three soldiers quickly recovered from their joy and excitement. What should we do? Our divine body is so weak, so weak. This is only the second floor of the Wu Qi building. There's still the third, fourth, and fifth floor. How can we survive? Right, our strength is already so weak. The three soldiers were extremely worried. We are weak, the other soldiers are too. That'll be fair. Who knows, the Wu Qi building might even provide treasures to help us recover. What do you mean the other soldiers are weak? Look, that Python River soldier is still able to suppress the dark red stone giant. As one soldier pointed into the distance, the other two looked too. Indeed, within Luo Feng's group of 5 soldiers, there were only a few, especially Luo Feng. Up until now, his strength was at its peak. Especially after he ignited the first level of his god energy, he could even suppress the dark red stone giant. He often used the dark red stone giant as a shield. Not only did he use it to block the light, he even used it to block the stone hands. He's actually this strong. The 3 surviving soldiers sighed. Suddenly, wah. 3 beams of light suddenly descended and enveloped the 3 surviving soldiers. In an instant, the 3 soldiers disappeared. They went to the 3rd floor of the Wu Qi building. Luo Feng scanned the area. 2 of the 5 from before died. The other 3's powers have all fallen to an extremely low level. I think our batch is about the same. As the ancient engravings continued to descend, Luo Feng and his batch were met with worse and worse situations. Finally, some soldiers fell. After a while, it ended. Luo Feng and his batch too had 3 surviving soldiers. We survived. Haha, we survived. The other 2 soldiers were overjoyed. However, when they saw Luo Feng, they instinctively dodged far away. Luo Feng glanced, and his gaze landed on the tall and skinny Su Zhong. He laughed softly. Your luck is not bad. You're still alive. Su Zhong was filled with fear and regret. He understood that this terrifying soldier, he was holding a grudge. Hua. 3 beams of light descended and enveloped Luo Feng and the other 2. They immediately vanished. The 3rd floor of the Wu Qi building was a vast grassland. As Luo Feng and the other 2 appeared. The 4th batch is here. The 4th batch is the same as the 3rd. They both survived. Many voices resounded. The moment Luo Feng appeared, he scanned his surroundings. In the distance, there were many silhouettes. Some were soldiers, some were beasts. There were quite a lot of them. With a glance in the vast grassland, including himself, there were a total of 11 soldiers. 11 soldiers? Luo Feng thought. The 3rd batch and our 4th batch have 6 survivors. Looks like the other 5 are from the 1st and 2nd batches. The 3rd floor of the Wu Qi building actually allowed all the soldiers to gather? Luo Feng thought. Luo Feng carefully observed the surrounding soldiers. Immediately, the 3rd and 4th batches of survivors were so scared that their faces changed. They all teleported far away to avoid the attack, and then sealed the surrounding area with spatial fluctuations. The 1st and 2nd batches of survivors were all shocked. They weren't idiots. They could all tell that with just one glance from the Mang River soldier, the 3rd and 4th batches of survivors were scared to the point of hiding far away. Obviously, their strengths weren't on the same level. We'll hide far away too. The 3rd and 4th batches are all the same. This Mang River soldier is definitely terrifying. Even though the 1st and 2nd batches of survivors didn't know how terrifying Luo Feng was, they were cautious and all teleported far away, sealing the space around them. This scene made Luo Feng shake his head and laugh. Time passed. Day after day passed. On the 6th day, another batch of soldiers arrived. There were a total of 2 survivors. After a while, the 6th batch arrived too. There were a total of 3 survivors. In the blink of an eye, close to 2 months had passed. A total of 38 soldiers had already gathered on the grassy plains on the 3rd floor of the Awakening Crow Tower. Some of the soldiers knew some of the soldiers from the previous 4 batches, and knew how terrifying the Python River Army soldiers were. Many of them similarly stayed far away. However, they were still confident and didn't hide. A single tribal warrior has already scared you all this much. A huge plant life form was blooming. Its entire body was covered in bright flowers. The largest flower had eyes and a mouth. It said with disdain, "Before I joined the army, I've killed over 10,000 tribal warriors." Saying that, the plant life form looked at Luophone with a taunting gaze. "Your god body is close to 100 million km tall. With such a huge body, we're not afraid," the distant soldiers said, the surrounding taunts and fear. Luophone ignored them all. He just stood there. Finally, as two more soldiers arrived, the grassland world on the third floor of the Wuchi Tower finally showed signs of activity. Rumble, in the air above the grassland, a huge ripple like whirlpool suddenly appeared. The surviving 40 soldiers all looked up into the sky. Wong, space rippled like a ripple. Luophone and the 40 soldiers, no matter where they were immediately teleported below the huge whirlpool. Wah, 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 wah. The whirlpool in the air suddenly released beams of light. It directly surrounded a large area of the grassland with a diameter of about 1 billion kilometers, completely isolating this large area from the outside world. The whirlpool above, too, reached 1 billion kilometers in diameter. Hua! In the middle of the whirlpool in the air, a huge eye suddenly appeared. This huge eye gazed downwards, causing everyone below, including Luophone, to feel their souls freeze. Awaken building. An old voice resounded within every soldier's mind. The first 3 levels are filled with life and death danger. As long as you survive the first 3 levels, there will be no more danger. From the 4th level onwards, there will be many inheritances, rewards, etc. The higher you go, the greater the rewards. The old voice said, "Of course, you have to survive the 3rd level. The first chapter of the 5th. To be continued. If you like this work, please come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation." Chapter 1408. The huge god, I in mid-air, gazed down at the 40 soldiers below. The ancient voice continued to resound within their minds. "You 40 soldiers, according to the strength you displayed in the first 2 levels, in this 3rd level, only 15 of you will survive. The 15 that survive will be able to enter the 4th level and gain many benefits. Before you make it through the 3rd level, you are forbidden from entering the battleships. Otherwise, you will fail and die." The ancient voice's words shocked Luophone. There were actually only 15 people left. Immediately, the 40 soldiers were worried within. To be able to make it to the 3rd level, they were all extraordinary. Yet another half had to die. Other than a few, like Luophone, the others didn't even dare say they would survive. Rumble, rumble. Suddenly 2 explosions rang out. Huge branches and leaves spread out. The long branches and leaves glowed with dazzling golden light. They continuously whipped a tribal soldier, causing that poor soldier, who had less than 1% of his strength, to be whipped into nothingness. What? It killed the soldier. The other survivors looked over in shock. Luophone too looked over. The one that attacked was the plant life soldier. One of its flowers let out a laugh. Wuchi Lu said only 15 can survive. However, he didn't forbid us from killing. Killing one more means one less opponent. Die. One had to know that after going through the 2nd level's Little World torture, most of the soldiers were still heavily injured. The weakest had less than 1/1000 of their peak strength. Flee. Careful. Go. The soldiers who thought they were heavily injured all began to flee in all directions, trying their best to maintain their distance from the stronger soldiers. However, the god eye in mid-air had a 1 billion kilometers area of light. There was no way to escape. No matter how they fled, they had to stay within this area, within the god eye area. It was a mess. Luophone stood there, ignoring his surroundings. Not a single soldier dared to deal with him. Even the most arrogant plant life soldier didn't deal with Luophone. Rumble, the huge god eye in midair, suddenly lit up. Beams of gold light emanated downwards. This is some of the soldiers who were still fighting suddenly felt their souls, life imprints, being attacked. Many of them temporarily stopped fighting and carefully resisted. No one knew how dangerous the third floor was. If it was a terrifying danger, then they would be courting death if they were to split their attention to fight. In just a short period of time, 3 of the 40 soldiers had fallen. They had all been heavily injured on the second floor and had just been trampled to death. Even their mechanical treasures, armors, and weapons had been taken away. Luckily, the Milky Way didn't move. Su Zhong glanced at Luo Feng from afar and looked up at the god eye in the sky. The soldiers all looked up at the god's eye. The divine eyes released endless golden light that enveloped the area below. The powerful willpower was something that all of the soldiers could endure. What exactly are the dangers of the third level? Just this divine eye? In the beginning, the second floor only had mystical patterns. Later on, stone giants appeared and so on. Who knows, there might be some strange dangers on the third floor. The soldiers all felt uneasy, to the extent where some of them even flew into the air, not daring to get close to the ground in case something suddenly popped up. Endless golden light shone down on the grass, plains, and every single soldier. Its power was gradually rising. The willpower attack is getting stronger. Don't tell me this third floor is a test of willpower. The soldiers all resisted. No one was willing to give up so easily. After all, they all knew that the third floor was the last floor with the danger of death. The fourth floor onwards had many rewards. Who wouldn't risk it? Luo Feng withstood the willpower attack and exclaimed to himself. No wonder the heavily injured soldiers didn't receive any treatment. It was a test of willpower. Even with the loss of the divine body, the impact on his battle strength was huge. However, the impact on his willpower was small. The willpower attack is slowly increasing. Luo Feng turned to look at the distant chinchilla form, Su Zhong. This bit of willpower attack has no effect on me at all. While the willpower attack is still weak, I'll first kill him. So, Luo Feng's speed immediately rose, and he flew towards the distant Su Zhong. Su Zhong was withstanding the willpower attack, simultaneously carefully observing his surroundings. Even though he had the chinchilla's ability to flee back in the second floor, his chinchilla's ability to fight and kill was much weaker. Hence, he was heavily injured in the second floor. Even after entering the second floor and waiting for some time to recover, he only recovered about 50% of his divine body. His strength was only left with 10% of his original strength. Of course, he had to be careful. Su Zhong immediately noticed a beam of light flying towards him from the distance. Inhe. Su Zhong was shocked. He was afraid of this Inhe. So, Su Zhong became a huge white bird and flew at high speed. Simultaneously, he communicated, Inhe, we're both from the Eastern Army. Why chase after me? If I don't kill you, who will I kill? Luo Feng communicated coldly. Su Zhong immediately felt bitter within. Back in the first floor, he had suddenly attacked Luo Feng. Back then, he had told Luo Feng that he was a new recruit. If I don't kill you, who will I kill? Now the situation had suddenly reversed. Inhe, as long as you don't kill me, I'm willing to give you a mechanical treasure as compensation. Su Zhong communicated anxiously. Humph. Luo Feng's reply was a cold snort. Entering this Wuqi building, Luo Feng was actually too lazy to start a massacre. It was just that Su Zhong was the type he hated the most, intentionally befriending and treating him like a brother, only to suddenly kill him from behind. Just like back when Luo Feng was still a small fry, he was ambushed and killed by his companion Mo Luo in Demon Note Mountain. Since then, Luo Feng hated this type of person to the extreme. Su Zhong? Naturally, he had to kill him. Luo Feng chased, Su Zhong fled. Su Zhong became a huge white bird. Even though he only had 10% of his original strength, his flying speed was still faster than Luo Feng's. Ignite! Luo Feng's thoughts moved. Unleashing the first scroll of annihilation, the golden claw god Luo Feng's speed immediately soared. One had to know that Luo Feng had the Wu killer wings. His flying speed was already his forte. Even though he didn't bring it in the gene world, he had carefully studied it during the 8 million years. He had also studied the Wu killer wings and many other techniques. And the flowing gold technique had the ability to increase his speed. Wah! Luo Feng's speed continued to rise explosively. Inhi. Su Zhong looked back and panicked. Tell me, what will it take for you to let me go? If you die, naturally I'll let you go. Luo Feng communicated coldly. The two of them, one in front and one behind, their speed was terrifying. Even the light domain of this god, I didn't cover more than 1 billion kilometers. With their current speed, they didn't even need 1 second to traverse the entire domain. Hence, Su Zhong had been flying in an arc, twisting and turning with all his might. Luo Feng chased for half a minute and still couldn't catch up. Maybe it was because he was facing death. Su Zhong was giving it his all. Or maybe it was because the Qin bird was really good at flying. If I unleash the second level of annihilation, I can instantly catch you. Luo Feng shook his head. In the Nine-Smoke Swamp, he dared unleash the second level because it wasn't within the army's control. But in Wuqi Tower, it was clear that all his actions were being monitored. Naturally, he did not dare to execute the second level of annihilation. Let's see how long you can last. Luo Feng continued to chase. Su Zhong didn't dare relax at all. Su Zhong was incomparably bitter, angry, and regretful. Time continued to pass. The god eye in mid-air emitted a golden light, and the willpower within was constantly getting stronger and stronger. From the start, everyone could easily withstand it. But now, some of the soldiers were finding it hard to withstand it. This willpower attack has already reached the limit of an overlord. Some of the soldiers were in extreme pain. Even though they were elites, in terms of willpower, most of them had broken through the bottleneck and reached the true god level. There were still a few that were weaker. Kill. While withstanding the willpower attack, the soldiers were still fighting and killing. Especially those that felt their willpower wasn't strong enough, they were fighting with all their might. Killing one means one less opponent. As long as there are 15 left, it'll be over. Kill. The sky and land were dark. The 30 soldiers all became beams of light and flew at high speeds, occasionally crossing each other. In such a desperate battle, they still had to defend against the willpower attack. If they weren't careful and got distracted, they could easily get hit. A few of the weaker soldiers who were slow in escaping began to fall. Their numbers began to decrease. As the willpower attack from the god, eye in mid-air grew stronger, the soldiers were terrified. Before, they were fighting and killing each other. The willpower attack was only a small threat. However, at this time, the willpower attack began to slowly exceed the limits of the soldiers. No! As the willpower attack exceeded the limits of an overlord. Rumble. There were a total of 9 soldiers who were flying, dodging, and fighting at high speed. Their bodies trembled, and they instantly fell into a state of unconsciousness. It was obvious that they could not withstand the impact of the will. Meanwhile, the god's eye in the sky instantly shot out 9 beams of dazzling purple light. Shwa! 9 rays of purple light instantly attacked the 9 soldiers who had fainted and fallen, causing them to be annihilated, leaving behind only some armor, mechanical treasures, and so on. Luo Feng, who was chasing Su Zhong and flying at high speed, happened to pass by. With a wave of his hand, he collected the treasures left behind by one of the soldiers. There are quite a lot of treasures. Luo Feng looked around. This 3rd level of the Awakened Crow building is a chance to get large amounts of treasures. If I miss this chance, I don't know when I'll get another one. Every soldier was like a small treasure vault, and almost every soldier had at least 2 mechanical treasures. After all, they had all survived the 1st and 2nd levels. In the distance, Su Zhong, who was trying his best to escape. I want to escape, I can't die. This willpower attack is too strong. I can't take it anymore. The god I shone on the grass plain, on every soldier, the willpower attack within the golden light. Even though it was slow, it was getting stronger and stronger. If one couldn't take it, they would die. Only 15 would survive. Today, the second watch of the 5th. The monthly votes have fallen behind. My tears, brothers, are there no more monthly votes? To be continued. If you like this work, please come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1409. The god Eye in mid-air emitted a willpower attack that was getting stronger and stronger, making it harder for the soldiers to defend. No, Su Zhong felt the heavy attack. His willpower was getting blurry and blurry. Wake up, wake up! He looked behind him. The golden claw god that had become a black light was still chasing, not slowing down at all. Wake up, wake up! Su Zhong was extremely anxious, but the willpower attack was getting stronger, causing him to show signs of collapsing. Inhi, I was wrong. Spare me, spare me. Su Zhong communicated at the last moment. Because of the willpower attack, his flight path wasn't perfect anymore. Hua! Behind, the completely black golden claw god, Luo Feng howled and chased. Die! Luo Feng clawed coldly, one claw smashing the white bird down. Rumble, the white bird landed on the grass plains. Luo Feng landed beside it. Luo Feng looked at the white bird that seemed to have lost consciousness on the grass plains. Chinbird. In the distance, the other soldiers fighting looked over. They all knew that the soldier lying there was obviously about to collapse and fall unconscious. Very soon he would be destroyed by the god Eye, leaving behind treasures. However, looking at the golden claw god Luo Feng standing beside, none of them dared to snatch the food from the tiger's mouth. Shua! A purple light shot out from the divine eye and landed directly on the big white bird, Chinchilla. Immediately, the Su bell under the protection of the mechanical treasure was annihilated, leaving only some armor, space bracelets, mechanical treasures, and so on. Luo Feng waved his hand and kept it, after which he leaped up, becoming a beam of light and rushing towards the soldiers fighting. The number of soldiers was decreasing. 28, 26, 23. The soldiers fell one by one. They were either killed by the divine eyes or by other soldiers. Get lost! His voice was like thunder, rumbling over. The golden claw god Luo Feng became a beam of light and rushed towards the treasure left behind by a soldier killed by the god Eye. It's that soldier Inhi. It's that soldier Inhi. The 3 soldiers that were rushing towards the treasure saw that it was Luo Feng and immediately changed directions, drawing an arc and escaping. If they were close to the treasure, they might be able to obtain it. However, they were far away from the treasure. Even if they could obtain it first, Inhi would probably catch up to them. That would be a nightmare. Within this group of soldiers, the ones with the most treasures were 2. One was Luo Feng. The other was the plant life soldier. Strictly speaking, the plant soldiers had obtained more treasures. One had to understand that the entire light realm only had a diameter of 1 billion kilometers, while the plant life soldier was close to 100 million kilometers in height. When those branches and leaves spread out, they covered an extremely large area. It naturally relied on this advantage to obtain many treasures. No, I can't accept this. Die, die, hurry up and die. The plant soldier's most beautiful flower screamed in agony. It was indeed powerful. However, the willpower attacks from the god, Eye in the sky, made it harder and harder for it to fight. As a plant life, it had a huge advantage in battle. Hence, it was lacking in terms of willpower training, even though its willpower had reached the true god level. However, amongst this group of elite soldiers, it could only be ranked in the middle. No. The plant life soldier felt that it couldn't hold on much longer. Its willpower was about to crumble. It's about to die. It can't hold on any longer. The other soldiers in the distance all looked over. They all avoided it and watched from afar, their eyes filled with greed. As they all knew that this plant life soldier had the most mechanical treasures, this made them all want to get their hands on it. Luo Feng floated in midair and watched from afar. No! Die! All of you hurry up and die! Die! The plant life soldier roared and wantonly waved its branches and leaves in a frenzy. Each of its branches and leaves flowed with streaks of golden light, sweeping through the surroundings in an attempt to kill even more soldiers. However, every single soldier avoided it, staying far away from it. And the soldiers that were still alive, their losses were much smaller. Even if they were trapped by the plant life soldier, they wouldn't die within a short period of time. No, following a mournful roar, those wantonly waving vine leaves all fell powerlessly from the sky. Obviously, they had lost their consciousness. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. He immediately became a beam of light, his speed swiftly rising as he rushed towards the plant life soldier. So. The soldiers all rushed over at the same time, all of them thirsting for large amounts of mechanical treasures. Even if they couldn't use them, they could still exchange them for points, after which they would use their huge amounts of points to exchange for something suitable for themselves. The icy violet light descended and landed on the plant life form, instantly destroying it and turning it into nothingness, leaving behind a pile of treasures. It's mine! A strange bee soldier with a pair of wings and a triangular head flew over like a bolt of lightning. Amongst the many soldiers rushing over, it was the fastest. It was past the grassland and instantly collected all the treasures left on the grassland. Courting death. An angry roar resounded. The flying bee soldier looked into the distance, laughing as he communicated, "Soldier Inhe, in terms of strength, I can't compare to you. However, in terms of flying speed, I'm not afraid of you." Rumble. Luo Feng flew over. Is that so? The originally pitch-black golden claw god, Luo Feng, immediately changed. The golden claw god vanished, and Luo Feng actually became a silver-white flying beast, Chinbird. The flying bee soldier was shocked. Chinbird Luo Feng's speed instantly rose, obviously exceeding the flying bee soldier by a large margin, immediately catching up. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with coldness. What a joke! After Su Zhong died and he obtained the Chinbird, he already had the intention to wantonly obtain large amounts of treasures in the 3rd level. Naturally, he immediately sent the Chinbird into the tomb boat for the Golden Horn Beast to experiment on. The Golden Horn Beast was in the training space of the inheritance space with 10,000 times time acceleration, studying the Chinbird. Even though it took more than a day in the training space to fully comprehend the Chinbird's technique. However, only less than 10 seconds had passed in the outside world. How can this be? The flying bee soldier was anxious. For a new mechanical treasure to be able to be used optimally, just studying it would normally take a long time. This soldier he had just obtained the Chinbird. How could he use it so quickly? How would he know? Luo Feng was already extremely accomplished in his techniques, and with 10,000 times time acceleration, how could he not be fast? Everyone says you're powerful. I don't believe an overlord like you can be much stronger than me. The flying beast soldier roared. Get down. The chinchilla caught up in an instant. Its huge wings turned into a stream of light as it displayed the light of water and fire saber technique, slashing directly on the flying bee soldier. The flying bee soldier was directly smashed to the grassland below, creating a large pit in the grassland. While descending, Luo Feng, who was originally a silver-white bird, immediately became the Golden Claw God. After all, in terms of attack, the Golden Claw God was stronger. Die! The Golden Claw God madly circled around the flying beast soldier. In an instant, the glaring Golden Claw silhouettes were like a huge wave, immediately engulfing the flying beast soldier. How? The flying beast soldier wanted to resist. However, the moment Luo Feng got close to him, along with his strength advantage, the flying beast soldier couldn't even escape. Rumble, endless blade lights swept down. The flying beast soldier, who had already lost a lot of his strength in the 2nd level of the Awakening building, was even more ravaged to the point where he couldn't even retaliate. In just 30 seconds, the flying beast soldier was destroyed. Luo Feng immediately kept the treasure. Indeed, an elite soldier. Even with heavy injuries, he still lasted longer than that 9-smoke swamp true god. In the distance, the other soldiers were shocked as they watched. In a short 30 seconds, a powerful elite soldier couldn't even escape and was killed immediately. Fear. Fear. All sorts of emotions rose up within. This was the first time Luo Feng had truly killed a soldier on the 3rd level. The Su Zhong before was killed by the God Eye. This display of power also allowed the other soldiers to understand just how wise it was to be cautious and evasive earlier. Wang, the God Eye in mid-air, emitted endless golden light. The willpower attacks were getting stronger and stronger. Only 15 can live. Especially the soldiers who felt the willpower attacks pushing them to their limits. They became even more frenzied, fighting with all their might. Their numbers continued to decrease. 20 digits, 18 digits, 16 digits until 15. When there were only 15 soldiers left in the entire area illuminated by the God Eye, the willpower attacks had already reached the pinnacle of true God level, close to the limits of true God. Other than Luo Feng, the other 14 soldiers were all extremely tired. 8 million years of time. Luo Feng gazed at the distant soldiers, exclaiming within, willpower attacks. Even a willpower attack close to the limits of true God wasn't even worth mentioning to him. Back when he acquired the Duandong River inheritance, he had already reached the true God level willpower. And over the long years, with the inheritance space to train himself, the inheritance space was a perfect training ground for the absolute warriors. Within the inheritance space, he could naturally train his willpower, maintaining the 10,000 times time acceleration to train his willpower to Luo Feng. This was an unprecedented 8 million years of time, causing his willpower to break through from the true God level to an even higher level. According to Luo Feng's guess, his willpower should be at the void true God level. Void true God willpower was more common among true gods. Even in the universe, there were a few true gods that reached this level, much less in the gene world. And universe lords, those that reached the void true God level willpower were very few. I have the inheritance space in my hands. If I still can't break through, then I'll be the joke of the Duandong River. Luo Feng thought the inheritors of the Duandong River during the universe lord level could easily reach the void true God level willpower. Hua, hua, hua. The God Eye in mid-air vanished into nothingness. At the same time, 15 beams of light descended, enveloping Luo Feng and the other 15 soldiers, causing them to vanish from the 3rd level. Today was the 3rd of 5. Continue to fight. Continue to summon monthly votes. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 1410. Divine King Valley, beside the towering Wu Chi's building, within the Silver Palace. On the 4 thrones of the palace sat 4 commanders. They were looking at the floating light screen, which showed everything that happened in the Wu Chi's building. He easily passed the 3rd level. From what I see, for Soldier Een, he to be so relaxed, his willpower should have reached void real God level. An overlord with willpower at void real God level. This Soldier Een, he is not bad. A compliment came from the black mist. The silver-armored female commander said, "Look at how he uses the Golden Claw God's blade technique. It's so exquisite that it's at least a beginner real God level. This soldier's movement technique, blade technique, willpower, everything is top-notch. He's the strongest I've seen since I became a commander." The tall and sturdy commander looked at the light screen solemnly. "I wonder if he can reach the top of the Wu Chi's building. If we can reach the top, then we won't have let His Majesty down." The other 3 commanders were silent. His Majesty's expectations? They looked at the light screen, which showed the scene on the 4th level of the Wu Chi's building. The 4th level is a reward. I wonder what reward Soldier Een he will choose. Asterisk, 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 4th level of the Wu Chi's building. The surviving 15 soldiers were filled with anticipation. According to what Wu Chi's building had told them, only the first 3 levels of the Wu Chi's building had danger. From the 4th level onwards, there were only rewards. Wu Chi's building's reward? What kind of reward is it? All the soldiers were filled with anticipation. Space-time shook. The 15 soldiers were teleported to the 4th level. Luo Feng and the rest looked around. Luo Feng looked around. There were many tunnels extending out. On the two walls of each tunnel were large amounts of trees and corpses. It was as though countless lives and dead things were sealed on the walls. Maze? Luo Feng thought. There's a tunnel in front of me, to my left, to my right. The 15 soldiers looked around hesitantly. None of them dared to move as they waited for Wu Qi's building's guidance. Rays of light appeared in the surroundings and enveloped every soldier. Surviving soldiers, you are lucky because you have reached the 4th level of the Wu Qi's building. From this floor onwards, you will no longer be in danger. Soldiers are also prohibited from killing each other. If they violate this rule, they will be executed. Just the opening paragraph alone made the other soldiers heave a sigh of relief. They glanced at Luo Feng and weren't as cautious as before. There are many rewards on the 4th floor of the Wu Qi Tower. There are 4 paths around you, each representing a different reward. That passage that is faintly glowing with white light is a treasure passage. Once you enter, you will be able to obtain some treasures, such as mechanical weapons, treasures that can restore the divine body, and so on. That passageway that is faintly glowing with golden light is the inheritance passageway. It contains some special secret techniques. If you are lucky, you might be able to obtain some extremely powerful secret techniques. That passageway that is faintly glowing with purple light is the path to becoming a true god. It will guide you on how to break through and become a true god. This is the path of the laws of true god. That passageway glowing with black light is also the path of a true god, but it's the path of divine power. Starting from divine power, one can become a true god. It's also 100 or 1,000 times more difficult. Of the 4 paths, you can only choose one. Your rewards from these paths will determine whether or not you can enter the 5th floor of the Wu Qi Tower. Make your choice, lucky soldiers. The ancient voice vanished. Luo Feng and the others all looked at the 4 paths around them, so they represented different rewards. The techniques within the Wu Qi Tower are definitely not normal. With special techniques, I'll be able to unleash even more power against warriors of the same level. I'll be able to display greater strength against experts of the same level. A black skeletal snake beast slithered directly into the passageway, glowing with golden light. I've been stuck as an Origin Law Lord for too long. I have to become a true god. The God Force path is too difficult. Even if I go, I'll probably fail. Another short and sturdy tribal soldier entered the purple passageway. The soldiers all made their choices. Some believed that the army had guidance on becoming a true god. Hence they chose techniques or treasures. Some wanted to become a true god even earlier. Hence they chose the path of a true god. However, out of the 15 soldiers, even though 8 chose the path of a true god, 6 of them chose the Origin Law path. After all, they all knew the Origin Law path was the most common and the easiest. The God Force path was much harder. They hadn't even succeeded in the Origin Law path. Naturally, they didn't dare to be too ambitious. After all, this path was only a guide. It didn't mean they would succeed. God Force path? I want to see what special guidance the godly emperor of this gene world has on the path of God energy. Luo Feng didn't hesitate at all, immediately choosing the path of God energy to become a true god. Treasures? His rewards this time were already huge. Luo Feng didn't believe that passing the 3rd level would give him any powerful treasures. Techniques? He had many powerful techniques in the Dong-breaking river. Origin Law path. He had given up on it long ago. Only the true God path. This was after all left behind by the godly emperor. Maybe it would be useful to him. The 4 commanders of the Divine King's Valley looked at the screen. Luo Feng and another soldier entered the path of the true God, which was glowing with black light, one after the other. They all sighed. Not bad. The only truly precious thing on the 4th floor of the Tower of Awakening Crow is this divine power pathway. This is where the godly emperor put his heart and soul into. This soldier, Inhe, was chosen well. The leaders all sighed. The normal army warriors didn't know. However, they were the leaders of the godly Emperor Valley. The Wu Qi building was handed over to them to protect. They naturally knew. Actually, the absolute people the godly emperor needed, it would be best if they followed the god force path and became a true god. After all, to get a title, other than the title mission, there was another way. As long as one fulfilled the requirements, one, the god force path, and one's life force reached 90,000 times, two, one had to solve all the 10081 Rhino Emperor games. This would immediately get a title and become the Wu Qi god. From these requirements, one could see that the absolute people the godly emperor needed, it would be best if they followed the god force path. Hence, when the Wu Qi building was first built, the fourth level had 4 paths. Only the god force path was left behind by the godly emperor to help those who came later. Luo Feng walked along the pathway. On both sides of the walls, there were large amounts of sealed corpses or objects, almost like specimens. The god force path? Where is it? Luo Feng carefully searched. Suddenly his pupils contracted, staring at the wall beside him. He was shocked to discover the seemingly simple countless corpses and objects. If the trillions of specimens were to be combined, it would actually form an incomparably complex picture, and these specimens had protrusions and depressions, forming a 3D enigmatic picture. This 3D enigmatic picture, Luo Feng looked, his heart was in turmoil. Other warriors may not know, but how could he not know? He had relied on the endless dark ocean to unleash his natural talent and research on the structure of life many times, even allowing his god body to break through the limit of perfection. This is the most detailed structure of a perfect life. Luo Feng was shocked within. With one look, Luo Feng swiftly memorized it. If he didn't understand, he wouldn't be able to memorize it no matter how much he looked. However, Luo Feng already had some accomplishments in this area. His research had already surpassed this life enigmatic picture. Left. Luo Feng turned to look at the other side. Combining the trillions of specimens, it was indeed another perfect life enigmatic picture. The one before should be a flesh and blood life form, and this should be a plant life form. Luo Feng swiftly memorized it and continued forward. Along the way, on both sides of the walls, countless specimens formed life enigmatic pictures. All of them were perfect life forms. Even though they were all perfect life forms, there were still differences. Even the perfect genetic structure of the flesh and blood life form could be split into hundreds and thousands of types. It's unbelievable. So detailed. Luo Feng was shocked and continued forward. In a short while, he reached the end. There was a door. On it was an incomplete life enigmatic picture. Luo Feng looked and smiled. Flesh and blood life form. With a point of his finger, he infused his god energy and swiftly filled up the incomplete life enigmatic picture, forming a perfect life enigmatic picture. To Luo Feng, the perfect life form. He had studied it countless times before. If it was an energy life form, he would probably need to spend a lot of time. However, as a flesh and blood life form, he was extremely confident he could instantly complete it. Rumble. The wooden door at the end of the passage immediately let out a green light, enveloping Luo Feng. So, Luo Feng vanished from the door. He entered. It's only been a short while, and he's already entered the next part of the god energy path. Definitely, his god body has definitely broken through the perfect gene level, and he's walking the god energy path. It's just that this soldier Enhe is filled with ambition. He's not willing to become a true god just like that. He wants his life genes to reach even higher levels. The tall and sturdy leader roared. The other leaders were all shocked and excited. I wonder just how much he'll gain. The 4 leaders were all filled with anticipation. Even they were unable to see the deeper parts of the true god's path of divinity. The Awakened Crow building was a huge secret. Even though the 4 leaders could monitor it, they could only monitor a portion of it. Like some special regions, like the 8th and 9th level, the 4 leaders couldn't even scan a bit. Like the 4th level, the depths of the god energy path, they couldn't scan either. Because that was a huge secret. Becoming a true god through the god energy path was already extremely difficult. The analysis of life forms was even more of a secret. Like Luo Feng, who had the primal universe's creation technique, Some of the stronger life forms could only be vaguely scanned. As for the drop of god blood forced out by Wu Yu, it was even more impossible to scan. Like the true gods, void true gods, eternal true gods, etc., they couldn't truly analyze every single life form. Such a series of extremely detailed life forms. One could imagine how precious it was. Of course, only after comprehending, understanding, could one remember. If one didn't understand, no matter how much they looked, they wouldn't be able to remember. It was useless. Hence, this life form diagram was only a support. However, this support was definitely something the ancient civilization's large powers wouldn't leak out. Even the Duan-Dong River sect couldn't take it out. The fourth watch of the fifth watch had arrived. The monthly vote gap had actually gotten even bigger. Tomato tears begging for monthly votes, asterisk, to be continued. If you like this work, please come Achidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 14:11. Space trembled. In the depths of the God energy path and true God path, Luo Feng appeared out of thin air. Luo Feng looked over, river. Ahead was still the pathway, and on both sides were walls with countless specimens. However, the wide and deep passageway in front of him was actually a river. Luo Feng stood on top of the river and looked down in shock. He used his God energy to sense and discovered that the river was filled with endless amounts of God energy that had no owner. Just like the primal universe origin law, ocean's God energy, it could be absorbed and used as one wished. It's actually God energy, and there's so much of it. Luo Feng was overjoyed. One had to know that his God body's height was 100,000 kilometers. The pathway's width and height were over 100 million km, and its length was tens of billions of kilometers. Such a huge pathway. Half of it was filled with this God energy river. That God Emperor left so much God energy here. Luo Feng pondered. Later generations will study it here. The moment they comprehend it, their God bodies will break through. Naturally, they would need God energy to replenish it. Is that the reason? No matter what the reason was, one would be a fool not to absorb God energy. Hua, with a thought, the God energy below immediately surged and was absorbed by Luo Feng. From the first to third level, Luo Feng had indeed used up quite a bit of God energy, especially the golden horn beast, because his earth body broke through to 16,000 times. To replenish his God energy, the golden horn beast body had always been lacking a lot of God energy. Since there's so much God energy, then I'll go all out and let my God body reach the highest level I've comprehended so far. Luo Feng didn't hesitate anymore. God body reform. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Rumble. Luo Feng's earth body immediately completely disintegrated, becoming a vast amount of God energy. Every bit of God energy changed its life structure and swiftly condensed back into his earth body. Luo Feng's body was madly absorbing the surrounding river water, swiftly replenishing it. At the same time, the Golden Horn Beast clone was also reassembling its God body and replenishing its God energy. After a while, everything stopped. My current God body, my life genetic level has already reached about 28,000 times. But we're still far from our goal. Luo Feng thought. Back when he was on his way to the godly King Valley, far away in the primal universe's endless dark ocean, he obtained a large amount of the blood, scales, and hair of a true god for the first time, allowing him to break through and comprehend the 16,000 times genetic structure. In the following period of time, while Luo Feng was rushing, especially during the time he was waiting for the other batches of soldiers to arrive on the third floor of the Awakened Crow building, under the 10,000 times time acceleration in the training space, Luo Feng broke through continuously, finally reaching 28,000 times his life force genetic level, which could be considered a small bottleneck in this short period of time. At this time, Luo Feng naturally took the chance to absorb the God energy and reach his strongest state. Actually, even with the natural talent creation, large amounts of true God blood, hair, and scales, Luo Feng was actually a little disappointed that he couldn't even reach the first 30,000 times. After all, 30,000 times was only the first stage. Life diagram. Luo Feng stood on the God Energy River, looking at the even more complicated life diagram on both sides. Flesh type, rock type, energy type, metal type, plant type, all sorts of life diagrams from 10,000 times to 30,000 times. There were many of them. Luo Feng grasped the life diagram the fastest. As for the others, he was obviously much slower. Luo Feng focused mainly on the flesh and blood type. The others were temporarily thrown aside. Of course, while studying the flesh and blood type, Luo Feng had some additional gains in the other life forms. Time passed day by day. While Luo Feng was studying these life diagrams, in the distant primal universe, the endless dark ocean was also studying. And in the inheritance training space, the golden horned beast was experimenting time and time again. On the 15th day, it was only natural Luo Feng once again broke through, causing his life genetic structure to soar to about 32,000 times. The main thing was that Luo Feng's foundations were already good, originally reaching 28,000 times. Now, with some inspiration and comprehension, naturally he broke through to the 30,000 times level. Rumble. The majestic Luo Feng, the surrounding river surged and surrounded him, constantly entering his body. God body's first stage, his body's height could explosively rise by 10 times. Of course it had enough God energy, as he absorbed large amounts of God energy. Luo Feng very quickly rose to a height of 1 million kilometers. Even the golden horned beast similarly reached a length of 1 million kilometers. Ha ha! Luo Feng laughed loudly. Standing at the end of the river pathway, there was also a wooden door. On it was also an incomplete life diagram, and a blood and flesh type life form. Luo Feng thought, "Don't tell me the God Emperor's test on the wooden door is based on the number of soldiers that enter? If a plant type soldier enters, the wooden doors test will be the plant type's life diagram." Luo Feng didn't hesitate, very quickly completing this life diagram. This life diagram was 30,000 times life genetic structure. Luo Feng pondered a little and quickly completed it. 1. The wooden door shot out a green light that enveloped Luo Feng, immediately sending him deeper into the true God path. Luo Feng appeared in midair. Before him was still a river pathway. Both sides were still walls. Only this pathway was even wider and deeper. The life diagrams on the walls were even more complicated and huge. The first section is a perfect life form. The second is 10,000 to 30,000 times. This third should be 30,000 to 60,000 times. Luo Feng's gaze swept, feeling that it was incomparably profound. The previous two pathways, I already had the basics, hence I easily passed through. This pathway, I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Luo Feng flew forward, looking at the first blood and flesh life diagram on the right. According to Luo Feng's guess, this should be a life diagram with a genetic structure of about 35,000 times. However, this life diagram immediately trapped Luo Feng. There were many things he didn't understand. If he couldn't comprehend it, it would be a waste to look at it. Closing his eyes would make him unable to recall. Only by comprehending it would he be able to remember. Luo Feng temporarily gave up on the other life forms, focusing on the blood and flesh type. The first diagram, Luo Feng stood on the river without moving, looking at it for a total of 3 months. While he was looking, the primal universe endless dark ocean was using its natural talent creation to study the blood, scales, and hairs of the true gods. The golden horned beast was using the 10,000 times time acceleration to study and analyze. Although it looked like 3 months, in truth, it took him a few thousand years to comprehend it. The second diagram, Luo Feng stood and looked at it for over a month. The third diagram, Luo Feng looked at it for over half a year. Luo Feng stared at the life diagrams of the flesh and blood life forms, looking from low to high, and then comparing it to the creation ability of the endless dark ocean. He studied the life structures of the true gods carefully. Under the 10,000 times time acceleration, He constantly studied the meaning of each diagram. Mysterious, almost like creating a technique. And Luo Feng's grasp on the genetic structure of the life continued to rise. 1 year and half a month, Luo Feng's genetic structure rose to 40,000 times. After spending about 80 years, it reached 50,000 times. However, in the following 1,000 years, Luo Feng was still stuck at this stage, unable to break through. Luo Feng couldn't bear to. This path to the true God was definitely an incomparably precious treasure. After all, even the broken East River region didn't have such a detailed series of life diagrams. He had to study it here, because the moment he left, he would forget everything he didn't comprehend. He wouldn't be able to remember. 1 era. The longest tidal missions can last is 1 era's time. The next era will be the next mission period. I have to do my best to gain as much as I can in this era. Such precious life diagrams, they're all placed in front of me, allowing me to study them. And I have the natural talent creation technique. These 2 great advantages are helping me. If I miss this opportunity, I'll definitely die. In the future, I'll have to spend 1,000,000 times more time, and I might not even get as much as this. Luo Feng didn't dare relax at all. Outside the Wu Qi building. So, a soldier was teleported out of the room. On the 3rd level of the Silver Gray Palace, beside the Wu Qi building, beside the railing, there were 4 silhouettes, all looking down at the soldier that was teleported out. Within the Wu Qi building, the other soldiers have been teleported out. Their time in the 4th level has come to an end. That soldier, his achievements are higher, hence he can stay longer. I wonder how much he's gained on the God energy, true God path. The tall and sturdy leader exclaimed. The other 3 leaders looked at the Wu Qi building too. They couldn't see inside. However, they were very clear. Since Soldier he had walked deeper on the true God path. That meant he could enter the 5th level and continue upwards. The longest tidal mission period is 1 era. In the 4th level, he can at most stay half an era. I wonder how much he'll gain in this half an era. Luo Feng himself didn't know at all. He could at most stay half an era on the true God path. Actually, it was useless even if he knew, because he was already doing his best to study it, madly studying it. On the 4,200th year of the true God path. At the end of the pathway was a huge life diagram. Luo Feng stood there unmoving. He had been standing there for over 2,000 years. Suddenly, he smiled. His tightly furrowed brows relaxed, and he looked very relaxed. With a moment of comprehension, he was enlightened. This feeling of enlightenment was incomparably beautiful. So it's like that. Luo Feng laughed loudly. Rumble. The godly body immediately disintegrated, following which every bit of God energy underwent a huge change, following which it condensed again. Simultaneously, the surrounding river surged and condensed. A majestic, godly body continuously grew. Very quickly, Luo Feng's feet stepped on the ground of the tunnel, his head almost touching the highest point of the tunnel. Luo Feng, his god body, had already reached a height of 100 million kilometers. His life genetic level had already broken through 60,000 times. Over a 100 million kilometers huge body, yet didn't feel like a burden at all. Unlike those huge life forms that were hard to move, Luo Feng's life genetic level was 60,000 times higher. With such a huge body, his speed and agility would only get stronger. His earth body and golden horn beast body were both at their limits. Next section. Luo Feng swiftly shrunk and walked to the wooden door, spending some time to complete the life diagram. Hua! The green light shone, and Luo Feng was sent to the other side. Before him was a pathway. On both sides were walls. There wasn't any god energy or water within. The walls didn't have any specimens either. It was a blank space. Blank. Luo Feng was stunned. The 5th chapter was over. To be continued. If you like this work, please come Come to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation.